Yes.
D-Mase, how we doing?
Hey, we're doing well. Doing well. Luckily, we had enough time, to assess what was going on over there. Then get back over here.
So shout out to Ladarius, our audio engineer.
Exactly.
He went to practice, got everything set up, and then D-Mase and I looked at each other. We were like,
yeah, we're going to go back to the studio.
We're going to go back to the station.
Just to be safe.
Nick Frazier is here as well. Nick, how we doing?
We're rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling, living the dream.
Willy reminds me of a modern-day George Costanza. You know that one episode where he goes, "Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep. I must be out or I'd pick up the phone. Where could I be?" Believe it or not,
Willy.
Willy's not at home, so we don't know where Willy's at.
Where in the world is Willy Donick?
Nobody knows. Just throw a dart. He'll probably be there.
He'll be there, yeah. Whether it's, Asia, New England, wherever it might be. Willie's
the Caribbean.
Probably going to be there. Yeah, right. He's on a beach right now using a conch shell to call into the show. But we got some news this morning from Mike Vrabel. Now, normally Mike Vrabel is at the podium after practice to kind of give a breakdown of practice, answer questions from the media. But Mike Vrabel will not be serving as head coach on Saturday, so we will hear from Terrell Williams, Titans assistant head coach, defensive line coach, who will be serving as the head coach on Saturday in Chicago. We'll hear from Terrell Williams at the podium, so we will carry that live and in its entirety. I'm excited to hear what Terrell Williams has to say. But Mike Vrabel spoke with the media in kind of a scrum at the side, since he's not speaking to the media at the podium, and provided a little bit of an update about probably the biggest question that we've all been asking ourselves throughout the entire week going into the Chicago game. One, who's going to be starting quarterback? And two, are we going to see the starters? And if so, how much? This was Mike Vrabel at a media scrum before practice.
Saturday, or is that a Friday decision?
No, it's been made, yeah.
Is it going to be Malik?
That's not a decision that we're going to share right now, but we made the decision.
Okay, yet another keeping secrets under lock and key from Mike Vrabel. But they have decided who is going to be the starting quarterback on Saturday, not sharing it quite yet. D-Mase, who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback?
I think Malik Willis will be the starting quarterback. I would be surprised if he's not. I don't think he's done anything that would, make me think that he would be the third quarterback. He's looked well in camp, and he's sort of the elder statesman in this situation, only by a year, but still, he's the elder statesman when it comes to Levis. But, it's not even that. I think he's played well enough. He's played himself. He deserved and he earned that right to be the number 2 quarterback as of now. Now, things can change. But right now he's earned that spot, and he's earned the opportunity to, if they don't go Ryan Tannehill, Saturday, he's earned the spot to be the starter for this game, at least to start off, because obviously both guys they end up playing.
Do you think that's the right decision?
Yeah, I think it's the right decision. Again, it's, he hasn't done anything but get better from the minute this off season started. They've noticed something, and they've said this, not us. They've noticed a difference in Malik Willis from last year to this year, and that's what you want to see. And he's gone throughout practice. Now, every practice hadn't been perfect, but they've seen the improvement. Vrabel said he's a different person. You can tell when he walks in the building, he's a different person. So, with all that being said, I don't think he played himself out of being the starter if Ryan doesn't play, being a starter against the Bears. I think, honestly, he's played he's played himself into it because I know once they drafted Will Levis, they didn't know how Malik Willis would come back to camp. But he's shown them that he's ready, he's focused, and he's determined to, win a spot on his team.
And you say, and you make a very fair point. If Ryan doesn't play, Malik should get the start. Do you think Ryan should play?
Should? No. Would I be surprised if he did? No.
Why do you think he shouldn't?
Because I just don't trust the offensive line. I don't. And I'm not throwing my quarterback out there Just like I'm not throwing Derrick Henry. If I ain't throwing Derrick Henry out there, I'm damn sure not throwing my quarterback out there with two guys behind them with a combined, maybe 50 passes in this league, Malik Willis and Levis. So I'm not chancing it with my quarterback. If my starting running back isn't playing, I'm not playing my starting quarterback either. But, they might choose to do something different.
I struggle with that because I hear you. Like, losing your starting quarterback in the preseason sounds like close to one of the most, awful things that could happen to a franchise, especially considering the Titans made it very obvious in the offseason with the moves that they made that they're trying to win this year. And especially because although Malik Willis and Will Levis both look encouraging, neither of them look like starting quarterbacks in the National Football League. But are you not going to play Ryan Tannehill at week 1 behind that offensive line?
Well, you would hope that as we start to play these preseason games, they'll start to gel a little bit more because they're playing against different competition. I can't see, again, I don't think Ryan will play, but if he does, I wouldn't be like totally surprised.
Would you think it's a bad idea?
Bad idea because I don't trust the offensive line. Now, if you just said, okay, I need to get him some reps with D-Hop and these new pass catchers, then okay. But everything, like I told Chase, when I went on with him 15 minutes ago, I said, if you're going to throw Ryan Tannehill in there, everything needs to be quick. 3-step drops, or he's already in the shotgun and he's getting the ball away very early. No 5-step drops, definitely no damn 7-step drops, which I don't think they're going to do anyway. I think everything needs to be quick out of Ryan Tannehill's hands very quickly, so he doesn't even have a chance to get touched. If that's not the game plan, which I think it will be the game plan, but if it's not, then there's no reason for me to throw him out there because I have 2 joint practices coming up with Minnesota and Tampa. Minnesota and New England. I can use him for those because I know he's not going to get touched. But the offensive line is going to get some, massive work going against those two defenses.
And that's where I kind of struggle with it because you're right. I don't trust this offensive line either. I don't trust this offensive line in practice, much less in an actual game setting. But that's the offensive line that you got.
Yeah.
That's the offensive line that Ryan Tannehill is going to be behind for the first 6 games of the season. And, by the way, those 6 games of the season also coincide with your toughest stretch of the season. And we have said so many times, and I have been concerned about this offense over the last couple of weeks. And D-Mase, you always tell me it's early. They need time to gel. They need time to get acclimated into this offense. All things that are true. This is a new offense. This is an offensive line that needs some time to gel. You do have new receivers that need to build that rapport. But how are you going to do that and be game ready by week 1 if you don't at least get some reps in the preseason? And I know the joint practices are incredibly beneficial, and it kind of brings down the risk, maybe the injury risk that could present itself in a preseason game. And the joint practices are beneficial. But if the name of the game, if what is going to take this offense from what it is now to what we want it to be in the regular season is reps and time and just, the ability to gel, don't you want to give yourself as many opportunities as possible?
Yes. But I don't want to give myself these opportunities while jeopardizing my quarterback's health. My starting quarterback's health. Again,
also, fair point. And that's the other side of it that's pulling me the other way is I want this offense to have time to gel and get the mistakes out in the preseason when they don't really matter. I also don't want to put Ryan Tannehill in jeopardy, but also in that same breath, am I okay with just throwing him to the Wolves week 1? Because what's the difference of him getting hurt week 1 versus, game 1 of the preseason?
Well, you would hope that there's no difference because he's hurt regardless if that does happen. And
you would hope he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But what you hope is even if Ryan doesn't play, again, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. with the way the offensive line has been blocking, I don't want my quarterback behind them just yet. Not in a game type situation where everything is live, where my quarterback can be hit. He doesn't have on that red jersey. So, I would use the joint practices as my sort of game preparation, because essentially what you have is 5 preseason games. That's what you have. You have the 3 that you're going to play, which typically you're going to use for, rookies, second-year guys trying to make the team. You're using those games for that so they can gain some experience and you get to evaluate them. Those two scrimmages that you have, that's more so for the starters, because my quarterback, we're still able to do things live, full go, game type tempo, but y'all can't
defense.
But you can't touch my quarterback. They will call it if he's gotten sacked. They'll call it if he's gotten close to him. The refs will call it, or the head coaches will call it. But it's still giving the quarterback an opportunity to simulate a game type situation. It gives the offensive line an opportunity to simulate game type situation, as well as the receiver. So even though, D-Hop may not play during preseason, or Derrick Henry may not play during preseason, they're still going to get sort of live game reps against Minnesota and New England.
I want to see, I think, Ryan Tannehill for a couple series.
I
don't need to see him for 4 quarters.
I would too. But if he's in a game, I don't want to see him a couple of series, because that means D-Hop has to be out there a couple of series. And I just need a series with D-Hop. That's it. If Ryan Tannehill is going to play a series, D-Hop needs to play a series.
Get all the starters out there.
Then he's out after the minute Ryan leaves. D-Hop is gone too. I don't want Derrick Henry in it at all. I don't. But the rest of those guys that are sort of starters, Traylon Burks, Chika Conquo, once Ryan Tannehill leaves the game, if you give him a series, depending on how they look, not Ryan, but how the other guys look, I'm removing them from the game.
Yeah, I don't need him out there for 4 quarters. No, absolutely
I'm
not.
Removing him from
get
the game.
In there.
Give me a series and get out.
Dip your toes in the water and then get out. Mike Vrabel said that they have decided on a starting quarterback for the preseason game on Saturday, not announcing yet, no shock there, who that quarterback is. Who do you think it is? Who do you think it should be? Plus, what Mike Vrabel also said about who we could and could possibly not see on Saturday against Chicago. We'll get into that coming up next. And, of course, your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. Terrell Williams, assistant head coach and defensive line coach, will speak at the podium in just about 15 minutes. We will take that live and in its entirety. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more?
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Seems like everything costs more these days. Food, utilities, medical costs, you name it. But as prices go up, our family budget stays the same. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available. Start saving today at fbhp.com or visit your local Farm Bureau office.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Hang on. It's going to be a wild ride. The PBR team's champions, the Nashville Stampede, are coming home in a run to defend their title.
Yo, we coming.
Stampede Days, August 18th through 20th at Bridgestone Arena. Heart-pounding action you don't want to miss. Tickets start at $20. Get yours today at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com.
Yo, we coming.
Join us for the ride.
It's time to let your voice be heard. Nashville is headed to a runoff in the mayoral race on Thursday, September 14th. Stand up and be counted. Cromwell Media reminds you to get out and vote for the future of our city.
It is red hot in Music City.
On Wednesday, August 16th.
My God, listen to that.
AEW Dynamite and Rampage invade the Bridgestone Arena for a massive night of elite professional wrestling action in Nashville.
We have got a red hot show in store for you tonight.
Don't miss the AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm better than you.
Chris Jericho and the JAS.
I am the Wizard. I am the Ocho. I am Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Dr. Britt Baker. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, Chris Statlander, The Acclaim.
Everyone love!
The Outcasts, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Adam Cole. Wardlow, Swerve, Hangman Page, Hook, Darby Allin, Sting.
This is Sting!
Nashville's own Jeff and Karen Jarrett, and all your favorite stars will be in action live.
Well, that's huge.
Don't miss AEW's only Nashville appearance this year at the Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now. Go to AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that they continue to improve on some of the things that we've seen here in the last couple practices. That they start and continue to work as a unit, helping each other in protection, making sure that they're building a pocket inside, and they're trying to see the things that are showing up here lately in practice, trying to stay inside out on guys, just the fundamentals, the things that we preach, taking the next step in live action and how we finish and what our conditioning level is. And there'll be a lot of good things to be able to see.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel before practice today. Now, normally Mike Vrabel speaks at the podium after practice. We'll hear from Terrell Williams, who's acting as head coach on Saturday against Chicago in the first preseason game. So we'll hear from Terrell Williams at the podium after practice. So Mike Vrabel spoke with media in kind of a scrum on the sidelines before practice. That was Vrabel on the offensive line. That, hey, we're just going to keep working and getting better every single day. Now, Mike Vrabel also announced that they have decided on the starting quarterback on Saturday, but will not yet announce it. He also said that we're going to see some starters, not all starters. Now, Vrabel's talking about the offensive line there. If you think differently, D-Mase, let me know. I want to see the starting offensive line for as much as we possibly can.
Hey, if they played the whole game, I wouldn't care.
I would, throw them out there.
Throw
4
them out
quarters.
there the whole game, 4 quarters. They need it.
They do
because
need
this
it.
is the biggest question mark on this team. And you know, the Titans season will go as their offensive line goes. Now, I know injuries are involved in the game, and if they have too many injuries, then that can derail their season very quickly as it did last year. But if they don't have as many injuries as they have had the last 2 seasons, this year will hinge on whether their offensive line is adequate enough or not. I'm not even saying if they're a great offensive line. They just need to be better than what they were last year. If it's not significantly better than what they were last year, then this team is going to be fighting uphill the whole season.
It's scary to think about.
Yeah.
It's scary. And all throughout the offseason, I was talking about, reasons why we should feel better. And we were all talking about this, reasons why we should feel better about this Titans team than last year. And we said, well, the offensive line has to be better because I don't know how much worse it can be. And now I'm starting to get flashbacks of last season, and the worry starts to set in. Like, I was on with Joe Rexrod this morning, and he said, of course, the offensive line is the number one concern. No, if I had to pick one side of the ball, the offense is the number one concern, but more specifically the offensive line. He asked me, what do you think is the second most concerning thing? I was thinking to myself, I have questions about, secondary questions about the tight end position, but those concerns almost feel like they pale in comparison to my concerns about the offensive line. So I'm good to see the starting offensive line, Peter Skoronski, Andre Dillard, Aaron Brewer, Daniel Brunskill, Hubbard, throw them all out there. What other starters do you think we'll see? And what other starters do you think we should see on Saturday?
Well, starters we will see beside the offensive line. I think Chig will be out there. I would like to see DeAndre out there if Ryan is out there. I would like to see DeAndre out there. Traylon needs.
If Tannehill's not out there,
then I don't need to see DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
I would
take
agree.
him out. But I do need to see, regardless of who's playing, I do need to see Traylon Burks and Chig Okonkwo, Kyle Phillips, and even Chris Moore. I need to see him a little bit more too. So those are the guys that that should play. Beside the offensive line. Beside that, if you want to go on the defensive side of the ball, I just need the secondary, the corners. I don't necessarily need to see the defensive line get out there and play. Now, I would love to see, Monty Rice and Arden Key working his defense. I just want to see his energy out there.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
excited to see that in a game setting.
And I would like to see Aziz out there as well, just to see how that linebacker core. I guess that's not necessarily the full front seven, but I would like to see the linebackers because we're ushering in two new linebackers in Arden Key and Aziz. Harold Landry's not going to play. We know that. Monty Rice, he needs to be another guy that plays too. So I need to see those four linebackers play because they need to. These guys were not. Majority of these guys at that position, starting position, were not on his team last year. So I need to see them play together in this defense.
I think we're for sure going to see Monty Rice and Jack Gibbons because that's kind of a little bit of not a little bit. It is an inside linebacker competition. So I think we're going to see those guys, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of those guys throughout each of the 3 preseason games. Sticking defensively, I don't need to see Christian Fulton.
No.
I don't need to see Sean Murphy.
He might pull a
Bunting.
hamstring.
Yeah,
don't need him out
don't
there.
need him out there. I'd like to see Roger McCreary. If I don't see him, I will not lose sleep. But I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of Roger McCreary. Other than that, I would love to see Arden Key and Aziz Al-Shaair just because of my own personal excitement to see those two. But if we don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with. They're veterans. They've been around. It's okay. I can live with not seeing them. Really, defensively, other than Monty Rice and Jack Gibbons, if I don't see anyone else, I'll be okay with it. I don't need to see Jeffrey Simmons.
No.
Do not put him out there.
I don't need to really see him. I don't need to see Autry. Don't need to see him.
If Jeffrey Simmons and Indigo Autry don't even make the trip to Chicago, I'll be okay with that. I will live with that. But offensively, I want to see as many as possible.
Yeah, offense, I think.
With a small sample size.
Yeah,
I don't need to see a full half of Tannehill.
9 out of the 11, starting 11, I need to see play. I don't need to see Ryan. I don't need to see Derek. I really don't need to see D-Hop. So, that takes 3 out of there. So everybody else, I need to see, especially the offensive line. I just need to see Chig because I think the more he's out there, the more he plays, the more comfortable he gets, the better he gets. I think he can play. I think he's going to be an impact player for them this year. So I'm not necessarily worried about, well, is Chig on short? No, I just want to see him play. I just want to see him out there. Or I want to see majority of the offense, as much as the offense as we can possibly see out there against the Chicago Bears and moving forward. But beside the three that I named, Tannehill, Henry, and Hopkins, everybody else needs to have some playing time, whether it's a series or 2 series or the whole game.
If you had to give it like a probability or betting odds of how likely or not likely it is that we see Tannehill out there, what do you think it would be?
Very unlikely.
I think so too.
Very unlikely. So
I would agree.
I think they've already said they made that decision, but I think their starter will be Malik Willis.
If it's between, and I would agree with you, I don't necessarily love that decision. Like, I would love for this offense to take advantage of as many opportunities as they can get to gel together. If that's the number one thing that we're going to tell ourselves as we get concerned with the offense is, hey, it's early. Hey, they got time. Hey, they still need to gel. Well, then give them the opportunities to gel. But I'm with you that I don't think that it's likely, and I would agree with you that between Will Levis and Malik Willis, I think Malik Willis is going to get the start. Now, Malik Willis had a good day today in practice, and we'll have a full breakdown of practice whenever we are allowed to break down practice. But I don't think it's as much of an indictment of Will Levis. I think it's more so Malik Willis was listed as the second quarterback on this most recent depth chart. He is the more senior quarterback in that room between himself and Will Levis, so I think that he'll get the nod. But I do think we'll see Will Levis.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely see Will Levis.
I want to see a half from either.
We're going to see a lot of Will Levis.
Yeah.
I think the plan may be to play Malik Willis the first half, or at least play him the first quarter.
Willis.
Now, I think once they go away from one guy, I don't think they go back. Yeah, they're going to stick. That's why if Malik Willis has a good first quarter, then I think he's done. I think if the offense looks good, I think who's ever out there, majority of those guys are gone. At least the quarterback is gone. I think then they're going to give Levis an opportunity to have the second quarter, third quarter, and they have another quarterback on the roster, don't they? Or is it just those 3?
I don't need to see him.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if Malik is getting all of the first quarter, and you say, well, I've seen enough, then you throw Will Levis in there, you give him the second quarter, third quarter, see how he reacts playing the second quarter, going into halftime, coming back out. How does he make those adjustments after halftime? So I think you'll see that. And he may play the whole game after that. I think they will try to give Will Levis as many opportunities as possible to prove that he can play. I think they believe that Malik Willis has done a lot this camp, but they want to see a little bit more. So if he does well in the first quarter, don't expect to see him into halftime or past halftime.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get into some of your thoughts on that. Plus, we'll hear from Terrell Williams, acting head coach, on Saturday at the podium. So we'll play that live and in its entirety. Hey, Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
This is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. For most of us, sex is a big part of our relationship. So when something like erectile dysfunction starts affecting intimacy, it can be a real problem. But what you may not know is that ED doesn't just affect you, it can be tough on your partner as well. Plus, if you have ED, you know how it can make you feel. The truth is, we see a lot of guys who have depression, frustration, and even relationship issues because of ED. But we don't want ED to impact you or the one you love anymore. The Tennessee Men's Clinic tackles ED. Our urologists and medical providers take a comprehensive approach and have treated thousands of men with treatments that are successful in nearly 90% of cases. Even if your hormones are off, or if pills, wave therapy, or other treatments have left you hanging, the Tennessee Men's Clinic will work hard to help you get your sex life back, perhaps performing like you haven't in a long time. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices in Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
For over a decade, Simply Safe has revolutionized home security, and our latest advancement is here, 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from Simply Safe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Hey, tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball today at 6:05 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the Indianapolis Indians, AAA affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. So we will hear from Terrell Williams, acting head coach, on Saturday in just a moment. But let's get to some thoughts before we get to Terrell Williams. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Jeff in Nashville texts in, asked D-Mase, do you think that the Titans will get another lineman at Final Cut?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I wouldn't rule it out. Vrabel and Rand, their thing has always been, we're going to constantly and consistently try to make this team better. Mm-hmm. Every day we're looking to make this team better. So that tells me that, come, the end of camp, when they start making cuts, there may be a guy or two that they add to this roster that somebody else cut. So don't be surprised if, yes, they do add another player or another lineman to this roster, because they're going to need it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Mm-hmm.
I also wouldn't expect that signing, if and when it does happen, to be like a game changer, a starter on this offensive line. If anything, it would be a depth piece to add on, just in case.
Exactly.
Cole Texan says the real reason that Vrabel's letting T coach is so he doesn't have to talk to the media as much. I do have to give Vrabel credit. He did still talk to the media today, at least. Gave us some tidbits, some breadcrumbs. Mm-hmm. The announcement that they will be starting some starters, not all starters. Didn't say which starters, which is just classic Vrabel fashion, keeping everything behind the Iron Curtain. And then also that they have decided who's going to be the starting quarterback. But, I don't think Mike Vrabel's favorite time of the day is talking to us.
Nah, he would rather skip over all that. He knows a part of the job, but man, oh man, if he could skip over it, he would.
Kyle Texan says, have you guys heard anything about Taylor or Ben Jones possibly coming back to the Titans? I haven't heard anything about Ben Jones. Taylor Lewan, on the other hand, well, first of all, Taylor Lewan is skinny.
Yeah, I don't know about Taylor now. Ben, there could be a possibility that Ben ends up on somebody else's team, or if you just never know if the Titans choose and bring him back. But it won't happen, people. It won't happen until after the first game.
You don't think?
Yeah, because after the first game, your contract is not guaranteed. So if they sign you after the first game, then they can keep you as long as they want to. Or if they feel it's not working out, they can drop you second, third game of the season and don't have to pay you the full salary of the season. So if they do bring someone like Ben Jones back, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, but if they bring someone like a Ben Jones back, don't expect them to bring him back like right before the season starts. They're gonna, bring him back after the first game, so they don't have to keep him. If indeed they don't, if they have to make some other roster moves, they can make that move.
I would think it's highly unlikely, but to your point, not completely out of the realm of possibility. Taylor, if you've seen him either in person or on social media, he looks more like a tight end than he does a left tackle. Like, he has dropped some LBs. And he also tweeted this morning, I have no idea what this means. It could be absolutely nothing. It could be like a podcast thing. But he tweeted, the streak has come to an end. It's been a hell of a ride. I haven't slept tonight. Saddest vlog of all time, out soon. My first thought when I read that was, he's retiring. He's going to announce his retirement.
Yeah, it could be.
I could be totally off.
I think you're totally off here, Caroline. It has probably something to do with his gambling situation with Dana White in Vegas.
Oh, does he have that? I have no idea.
They all play like blackjack together, so I'd assume that's kind of what it probably means.
Maybe that
I'm just putting that
is.
out there. That's another realm of possibility, but you could also be right.
I have
retirement.
No idea. I don't follow the boys too closely.
Neither do I. I just have a few friends that kind of tell me the ins and outs of what he does on a regular basis, so I'm just like,
Did he just lose a bet?
No, I think there was
was he on a betting streak?
There was like a vlog that he did with Bustin' with the Boys that like they were at the blackjack table or something with Dana White, and like I don't know if it was him or Dana White that went down like 120K or something.
Jeez,
so I don't know what
Louise.
that could mean. I don't know, but it might be football related. It's all up in the air. It's like a Roman candle. It goes left to right everywhere in the world.
And leave it to Taylor Lewan to tweet the most cryptic and like daunting tweet for it only to be about like he lost a bet. When everyone's just waiting for him to announce his retirement.
Exactly.
So I would say Taylor Lewan, that's probably a hard no. Just because he doesn't look like he's in football shape.
Yeah, I don't
know what Ben Jones looks like, but
yeah, I hadn't seen Ben Jones. Well, I did see him SEC Media Day. I saw him.
Is he skinny?
No, he's not skinny. He hadn't retired either, so I guess he's leaving his options open. But Taylor dealing with an injury, a knee injury, it would be hard for me to envision him back with the Titans or back with any other team because of the injury. And it just seems like he's not in that football mode right now.
Yeah. And at least as far as Ben Jones was concerned this past season, like, he took a beating. I mean, he's taken a beating his entire career. But this past season, like, I remember that clip that came out on social media of Ben Jones walking into the tunnel, and Mike Vrabel, it sounds like he's in tears, gave him a big hug, said, I love you like my son. He's talking about, like, the sacrifices that Ben Jones makes for the team. I don't know what that meant exactly, but I have to think, like, Ben Jones was really overcoming something that day. Another texter texts in and says, I want to see DeAndre Hopkins no matter who is the starting quarterback on Saturday. I can't agree.
Nah, if Ryan Tannehill's not out there, then I don't want to see it.
I don't need to see DeAndre Hopkins if he's catching passes from Malik Willis or Will Levis. And that's no disrespect to Malik Willis or Will Levis.
I just don't want to see him out there. Potential of him, getting hurt. So why does he even need to be out there? If Ryan's not out there.
Right.
So,
and if they want to have a few series with the full starting offense, and when I say a few series, I mean like maybe 2, maybe 3, then fine. Yeah, I want to see this whole offense out there, but I don't need to see a whole lot of DeAndre Hopkins. So somebody sent this in. Paul Kaharski tweeted this. Said, I expect Taylor Lewan to make his retirement official in the next month. This was tweeted on August 3rd. Says, unsurprising based on what he looks like weight-wise right now. Yeah, I mean, like
yeah, he's not.
Yeah, I don't know if and when he's going to make an announcement anytime soon, but he doesn't at least look like he's in football shape. Another texter texts in, says, how much do you want to see from the starters, but the young guys, like a Chig, a Traylon Burks, Roger McCreary, so on and so forth?
How much of the younger guys I want to see?
Like the young starters. Like varsity, but not veterans, I guess the texture's asking.
I mean, I would like to see at least a quarter, maybe 2, because if you're going to play Malik Willis, say if they only play Malik Willis a quarter, then I want to see them at least a series or 2 with Will Levis to give him, because you'll get a sense of how he looks, Will Levis, with anybody out there, but I think you get a better idea of what he can be if you're putting him with legitimate pass catchers, guys that you're going to count on this year. So if Malik is playing the first quarter with Chig and Traylon, Chris Moore, Kyle Phillips, then I want to at least see Will Levis with, it doesn't have to be necessarily Traylon, but Chris Moore. I need to see him with him. I need to see him a little bit with Chig Okonkwo. So how that works out, I don't know. Maybe, we don't see them all together this game, but then the next game, Malik Willis ends up being the third quarterback and Will Levis ends up being the second. So then you can get that work with all those guys.
Right. And I want to see both backup quarterbacks, both Malik and Levis, with the 2s and 3s. Like, I don't want to just see Will Levis with the 3s. I don't want to see just Malik with the 2s. I want to see a good, mix of both.
Exactly.
We'll continue to get back into your phones on this coming up next. Plus, we'll also hear from Terrell Williams at the podium coming up next. He is serving as the head coach on Saturday in Chicago. So we will also break down kind of what we want to hear from Terrell Williams once he takes the podium. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
Big time performance, best part of the team.
Chase McCabe 9 to 11.
An unrestricted free agent.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase 11 to 2.
Got the big contract.
The Velvet Touch.
Talking about Hall of Famers. And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
Kept going for it.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Smashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, what's going on? It's Chase McCabe, and I have been telling you about PhD weight loss for a few months now. Dr. Ashley Lucas created this program, and the best part about it is my program is going to be different than your program because we are all different people, and it's tailor-made just for you. I have weekly coaching sessions with Rachel. She keeps me in line and also has adjusted the program as we've gone, and now I'm down 25 pounds since I have been on PhD weight loss. You can do that too. But remember, we're all different, and that's okay. Those weekly one-on-one coaching sessions are important. Customized meal plans. You can use their food, which I like their food. 85% is provided to you if you choose to. Or you can use your food, and they will tell you how to do that. And they'll tweak your program as you go along. Right now, check this out. This is the best part of their program. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Go to myphdweightloss.com to learn more. Again, that is myphdweightloss.com.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Actually getting the experience, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for doing that.
I heard a rumor that you're totally transparent about preseason playing time as a head coach. Is that true?
We're going to have a meeting a little bit later and discuss all of that. But, we're going to play the guys that we need to see, and it'll be exciting.
You've obviously done a good job here. You got a promotion to assistant head coach in the offseason. Do you have aspirations of being a head coach yourself one day? And is that
absolutely. I mean, if I didn't, then when he asked me to do this, I would have said, heck no. So, I'd love to be a head coach. I think you have I've been in this league a while. I've been coaching football for a while, and you have some head coaches that are play callers, but I believe that just because you're a play caller doesn't mean that you can run a football team. There's so much more to getting these guys to play. You know, when you're a head football coach, you got to be able to reach both sides of the football and connect with players. Like the way the world is and the way I've always believed that it is, you can't be a head football coach in this league without being able to connect with the football players. You can call shot plays and run plays and blitzes and all those different things, but at the end of the day, this game is still about people. And no matter how good of a play caller you are, if you can't get that offensive lineman to block, or you can't get that defensive lineman to turn and run to the football, then what are we really doing? So that's just my thought on what I think a head football coach is. And I've been fortunate enough to work for a great one here that's innovative, that's thoughtful, that's able to connect with players. And then Joe Tiller at Purdue, Bill Hayes at North Carolina A&T. I've been fortunate enough to work Dennis Allen, New Orleans Saints, Dan Campbell. I've worked for a lot of good head football coaches, and all of those guys have that ability to connect with players.
What are you most curious about in this? I mean, Mike was telling us, you know, the punt card and stuff that he had no idea about the first time he did it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's something that you're kind of most curious about. That
I'm better prepared than him because he told me everything he had to go through. So it's you know, the thing I'm probably most curious about is just going up and down the sidelines, because during the games I'm focused on the defensive line and the defense. Usually I don't have much time to look at what's going on offense. I'm just focused on our guys, and now that's Clint McMillan's job to focus on the defensive line. My job is to focus on the football team and handle all the situations and talk to Stretch and communicate with him and Timmy and Shane and those guys who eventually I believe will be head football coach. We got a lot of great football coaches on this staff, and so I'm really just going to lean on them just like Mike does during this football game.
Hoping for opportunities like throwing a challenge flag, like making a fourth down decision.
Hopefully the refs will make good calls and we don't have to throw a challenge flag. So, you know what? I'm just I think in coaching you just be who you are, and I'm going to coach like my personality is. I'm going to, you know, when the situations come up, we'll be ready for it, and if I'm not, then we'll just ask questions. Like, again, we got great football coaches, and you know, you talk about reality shows. I tell you, a great one would be if you can do one that if you can hear what's going on those dang headsets. It's real interesting, man.
What's been the player reaction, especially the guys in your D-line room when they found out?
So Jeff, all those guys, hey, okay, he's acting different now. He's the head coach, and you know what? It's been fun. I mean, we spend so much time around each other that we care about each other. So I think most of those guys were happy for me to have this opportunity. But what this opportunity also is it gives Clint an opportunity to coach the defensive line. I think the thing that's not talked about a lot since this was announced is Matt Gregg has also taken over for Todd with the training room. So I'll have a meeting with Matt tomorrow, and we'll kind of go over the injuries and do all of that. So this organization, Mike is the one that made a decision, but obviously he had to cover it with ownership. So I think this team deserves a lot of credit for what they're trying to do here.
When Mike came to you about the assistant head coach previously, how did that conversation go? How has that changed your job here?
So I was sitting in my office in the dark, burning a candle like I normally do, and he came over, shut the door, and said, hey, I want to do this. I want to make you the assistant head coach. Nothing's really going to change because of what you do already. You know, I don't a title for me doesn't change who I am or what I do with this football team. I care about the football team. Anybody that knows me know that I love these football players. Like, I love them and care about them, and you know, I'm able to reach both sides of the football and talk to those guys and communicate with them. And I mean, that's really what this business is. It's hard. Like, it's really hard, and it's long. We spend a lot of time together. Guys get banged up. So I said this before, you got to be able to connect with these guys, or when times get tough, they're not going to follow you. So Mike saw that, and I believe that he's a successful head coach because he also has that ability.
Talking to a lot of the guys, even the offensive ones, to your point, they said that there's a relationship and a lot of communication. Is that something that just kind of comes naturally, or do you make a concerted effort to make sure that you're reaching out to everybody?
Obviously the offensive linemen, because we go against each other all the time. I remember when I first got here in 2018, I showed Taylor Lewan a write-up that I had on him from the Miami Dolphins, what his strengths were, what his weaknesses were. Here's what you need to work on. And those guys will come in and ask questions. And then, Ryan Tannehill, I've been with Ryan Tannehill longer than any player or coach in my career. I was with him when he was a wide receiver at Texas A&M. I was with him with the Miami Dolphins, and then here in Tennessee. So that's an easy relationship to have. But I think it's got to come organically. Like, you don't just go out and try to develop a relationship with a guy. If you care, you care. And I think that these players know and understand that part. Like,
with the quarterbacks, right? Obviously, Tannehill has to get his, Levis, Willis, etc. How are you going to go about deciding who gets to play when and how long?
So we're going to have a staff meeting as soon as we get done here and kind of go over play time and all of that. We really haven't decided. I mean, we just finished practice, so we got to come and look at the injuries and do all of that, and then we'll decide more on the play time. So, I mean, all those guys have done a good job this camp, and I've watched them closely just like I watched the offensive line. When you're watching your guys on tape, you're obviously going against an opponent, so you're able to see those guys. So we'll sit down and talk about that more tonight, and then a little bit more tomorrow morning, and just kind of see where we are before we get on this plane.
When you talk about other teams hopefully following suit with this kind of opportunity, there have been other assistants who have been given kind of fractional opportunities in terms of like game day.
Yeah.
Do you think this will cut through some of the ambiguity when people go into interviews, being able to say, hey, look, it wasn't fractional. You don't have to sort through what I might or might not have done. I had a game day. Like, how much will that help?
Yeah, it's more. What Vrabes is doing here is more than a game day. All right, and I mean, like, I'm taking over really 5 o'clock today. It will be my first meeting with the football team, and then that'll carry on into tomorrow. And I already met with the officials, and so there have been some examples of coaches that have given play callers, okay, you can call this half, or you can call this game, or hey, you're the head coach for when we get to the field. But this is completely different, all right? And I don't know of any teams that are doing what we're doing here right now, where you're taking over, you're meeting with the media, you're doing all of these different things. And that's why I said Mike Vrabel deserves a lot of credit. And the thing you guys don't know, like, you see him and he comes up here, and I know how Vrabes can be. Like, trust me, I know how he can be. But what you don't see is what he's able to do for us as coaches and for our families. Like, a lot of guys have been promoted, a lot of guys have gotten jobs from here. This guy, I'll do anything for Mike Vrabel before assistant head coach and before being put in this position, because there's really one reason, and I know that this guy cares about my family, all right? And trust me, for a guy like me, that means a whole hell of a lot. So.
Have you gotten a sense externally maybe what this actually might mean to other people in the league? Like, has anybody reached out and said, hey, we're so happy? Like,
so I'm not really. I mean, I probably had 200 text messages from different people when it was first announced, but I'm so locked in on trying to get Jeff Simmons not to jump off sides. Like, that's really what my job has been up until this point, and now I'm focused more on the football team. I'll talk to some more guys, and I said this before, I think we have guys on this staff that I hope in the future get the same opportunity. I mean, Shane and Timmy and Ryan Crow and Booker and all the guys on offense, Rob Moore, like, I hope they all get the same opportunity. I think this is you have all these different programs. I came up through the minority coaching internship deal. I in 1999, Jacksonville Jaguars, did one with the Chicago Bears, the Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys, and so I was a product of that. But I'm not sitting here today because of that. I'm sitting here because of how hard I've worked and my value to the team.
Now, game days, in the past, your focus has been on getting your guys ready to play and work with them throughout the game. Have you thought about what it's going to be like on Saturday with so much stuff happening that you've never had to deal with before? And could it potentially be overwhelming, or are you excited about it?
No, I don't think. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life. It takes a lot to overwhelm me. You just roll with the punches. Like, Braves have kind of gone over what game day is going to be like. He's gone over everything that I need to be prepared for. I'm sure there's some things that's going to come up, but that's what being a position coach, that's what's being a coordinator, that's what being a head coach is about, is just as these things come up, you figure it out. And that's why you have good coaches around you, because you can't do everything. We'll figure it out, and I'm just excited about the opportunity.
When's the last time you may have had butterflies before a game, Coach, and what do you anticipate this will be like?
I definitely don't have butterflies. Like, trust me, because I'll be just fine. Like, I'm excited for the football team, and I'm sitting here now, and hopefully after this, it's not really about me. It's about the guys that are playing in this football game. There's guys that are fighting for jobs, and that's really what this thing's about. And those are the guys that I have. If I have any butterflies, trust me, it's not for me. It's for I want to see how Tajay Spears and some of these guys that haven't played, Will Levis, and some of these guys that haven't played in a pro football game. You know, I'm more concerned about them. I'll be fine. Like, I've been in quite a few pro football games, not as a head football coach, but I still have been there. So, I'll be just fine.
How forward thinking is this of Mike to do this, and how much does this show that he kind of has his pulse on this organization?
I think that, again, he deserves credit because he's very, very, very thoughtful. And he had this in mind months ago, and he told me, he said, you know, you can't get experience being a coordinator without being a coordinator. You can't get experience without being a head coach without being a head coach. So here you go. You're going to be the head football coach for 48 hours. You're doing everything the way that you want to do it, and that's what we're going to do. So I think I believe and I hope that more teams will follow suit and do this just to give guys experience.
Do you think Vrabel does it you want to do totally differently?
No, not really. I mean, the reason that Vrabes and I get along so well, and we get along very well, is because we see football the same. Like, I don't believe that we should throw it 100 times or blitz every snap. Like, we see football exactly the same. And so that's why it's easy to have conversations with each other about, hey, what do you think here? What do you think there? What this guy should be doing that. Trust me, we'll be just fine.
Talk about that ladder
from position coach to coordinator, head coach. Do you feel like line coaches are overlooked for the coordinator positions, for the head coaching positions?
I don't think so. I mean, here's what I do believe is people hire people that they feel comfortable with in those positions. And then there's some guys, I've known line coaches that just didn't want to be a coordinator or head coach. They love their position. So, and you have to, like those positions are they're just different. You know, it's probably different than coaching Stoney and the punters or whatever. So it's a little bit different. So as far as being overlooked, I mean, I think there's more and more guys now around the league that are line coaches that are having opportunities to be coordinators and possibly become head coaches.
What's your gut tell you about playing Ryan Tannehill?
My gut tells me that we're going to have a staff meeting after this, and we'll talk about what we're going to do going forward.
What time should I give you a call tomorrow?
After the game on Saturday.
You got any players? You talked about Simmons kid. Anybody lobbying you to try something new, like Simmons trying to get in the backfield, or anybody want to do something crazy?
Well, like I said about Vrabes and I see football the same. I think everybody's happy and excited, and they think, oh, it's just going to be a whole bunch of fun. Well, wait till I walk in that meeting at 5 o'clock. So.
Rob Moore said he wants you to sling it.
We'll do what we got to do to win. All right, guys.
There you go. That was Terrell Williams, Titans defensive line coach. He'll be acting as the head coach on Saturday. I'm really impressed, and I really like what I just heard. So we'll react to what we heard from Terrell Williams coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When looking for quality adult recreational sports in Nashville, look no further than Mid-State Sports. With over 25,000 participants, they are one of the largest sports organizations in the Southeast. Summer registration is now open for adult sports like softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For a full list of adult sports offerings, check out midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Mid-State.
Trust your pets with Cottle Vet Clinic in East Nashville in the heart of Inglewood for compassionate care and your fur baby's optimal health. From vaccinations to health checkups with on-site pharmacy, teeth cleaning, grooming, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures, trust Cottle Vet. Now offering boarding. Visit CottleVetClinic.com to learn more. We know you love your pet. And at Cottle Vet Clinic, pets are family.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Arthritis and rheumatic conditions are leading causes of disabilities among adults. Joint replacement could be the solution. The team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics approaches each case with a complete evaluation to see if surgery is right for you. Houston Clinic Orthopedics specializes in arthritis, hip, knee, and shoulder replacements, hip fractures, osteoarthritis of the hip, and joint pain. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's got a coach
shot by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Cover covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. And hey, we're your racing station, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game is Nashville's home for NASCAR. Tune in this Saturday at 4 p.m. for the Pennzoil 150 and on Sunday at 12:30 for the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard. NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3. The Game is presented by O'Charlie's. So we just heard from Terrell Williams, Titans defensive line coach, who will be acting as the head coach on Saturday for the first preseason game in Chicago. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know much about him. I still don't know very much about him. I know more now than I did maybe last week. I was really impressed by what I heard from Terrell Williams. And I think overall, what I noticed right off the bat was a sense of confidence and comfort being up there at the podium. I mean, I don't know how many times he's done podium interviews or how many times he's done media appearances. I can't imagine very many. But he just seemed so confident and comfortable up there. I mean, there were questions thrown his way that may not have been the easiest, but he just seemed like, hey, this is my job. This is what I was asked to do. This is what I was tasked with doing, and I'm going to, take it on wholeheartedly. I just feel like his presence up there just felt very cool and calm for somebody who's taking over and serving as a head coach in the NFL for the first time.
Well, he sounded and acted like a head coach.
He did.
And, he said he's been in this league many years, and he's been around some really good head football coaches. He went back to his North Carolina A&T days, and sort of the path up,
Dan
up into
Campbell,
where Dan Campbell,
Dennis Allen.
where he's at now. So he's had the pleasure of working with some really good head coaches, and he's taken all of that in. But even with taking all of that in and absorbing it, he's going to coach the way he coaches, knowing the things that he knows. And he spoke highly of Mike Vrabel. And, this is not, 1980s, 90s, where, the head coach is just that. He's sort of untouchable in a sense by the players. The head coaches now, you got to be relatable. You have to know how to relate to your starting, franchise quarterback or your starting long snapper or the guy that just barely made the team. You got to know how to connect with all of those guys, because he was right. Just because you're a great play caller doesn't essentially going to make you a great head coach, whether it be defensive calls or offensive calls. That doesn't mean you're going to be a great head coach. Look at Nathaniel Hackett. I believe Nathaniel Hackett is a really good play caller, but he's not a head coach. You can go down a line of guys that have gotten that opportunity to be a head coach that were really good play callers, and it just didn't work.
And vice versa.
So it takes a special individual to be able to, be a head coach, because it's not necessarily about, like Coach Williams says, not about really the X's and O's. You got coaches to handle that. You got to know how to connect with the offense. You got to know how to connect with the defense. You got to be able to talk to these men in a way that, like you said, they will run through a brick wall for you. How do I get Jeffrey Simmons from not jumping off sides? How do I get this guy to do this? Especially when times are tough. If they know you got their back when times are tough, then they're going to work that much harder for you. If they don't believe you have their back, and if they don't believe you sort of relate to them, they're not. Once things start getting rough, they ain't going to do you no favors. They're not. So what he said was true, and it's true, I believe, of every coach on that coaching staff, that, they care about not just what you can do on the football field, but they care about what you do off the football field, because what you do off the football field does affect what you do on the football field.
It's directly related.
Exactly.
You're having a, let's say, tough time at home, or maybe you're not eating right the way that you're supposed to. That can translate. That can trickle down to an on-the-field performance. And you mentioned something that was one of my biggest takeaways, that I felt like whatever question Terrell Williams was asked, he kept going back to this one thing that I think is really key for any coach, whether you're a line coach, position coach, coordinator, or head coach. And I appreciated the fact that he kept harping on this, the fact that he kept going back to this. And I want to get your perspective on it as a former player. So we'll get into that coming up next. And, of course, your thoughts as well. Your takeaways, what you thought about Terrell Williams and his first appearance as acting head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs. Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Thursday, men. Everyone, as a matter of fact. But, men, I'm talking to you because I need you to hear this. And it's about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife, Daphne, along with that wonderful and experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune system, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. So there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Man, what are you waiting for? Get Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Hey, Tennessee, when you bet on Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town, you get the best reward possible. Cold, hard cash. You bet with your own money, so why accept anything less from your rewards program? With Zen Sports, you earn cash on your bets, cash on your referrals bets, and a welcome bonus in, you guessed it, cash. So stop settling for Vegas rewards when we're in Tennessee. Cash in your old sportsbook for Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
It is red hot in Music City.
On Wednesday, August 16th.
My God, listen to that.
AEW Dynamite and Rampage invade the Bridgestone Arena for a massive night of elite professional wrestling action in Nashville.
We have got a red hot show in store for you tonight.
Don't miss the AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm better than you.
Chris Jericho in the JAS.
I am the Wizard. I am the Ocho. I am Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Dr. Britt Baker. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, Chris Statlander, The Acclaim.
Everyone love!
The Outcasts, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Ricky Starks, Adam Cole. Wardlow, Swerve, Hangman Page, Hook, Darby Allin, Sting.
This is Sting!
Nashville's own Jeff and Karen Jarrett, and all your favorite stars will be in action live.
Well, that's you.
Don't miss AEW's only Nashville appearance this year at the Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now. Go to AEWTix.com. Card subject to change.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
The Nashville Sheriff wants to pay you $55,700 a year. Now hiring correctional officers. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or a GED. Come, join our family and earn $55,700 after paid training and probation. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
This week's Nashville's best deal is CBD American Shaman. Step into one of the CBD American Shaman's retail stores and sample various CBD products, while a CBD consultant is there to answer any of your questions. They select top-grade hemp plants grown on agriculturally responsible farms right here in the USA and bring worldwide wellness through ultra-concentrated CBD oil. They even have CBD treatments for your pets. Get half off a $30 gift card right now to their Goodlettsville or Hendersonville location at thegamenashville.com/deals.
In any work environment, culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is General Manager Sean Ford with Cromwell Media. This month we want to highlight 2 individuals on our team celebrating their anniversary. First, Max Hers is celebrating over 5 years with us on 1025 The Game. And our president and owner, Bud Walters, is celebrating his 51st year with Cromwell Media. Thanks to you for the community you've built here. If you're looking for a new career, reach out to us at together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Obviously, the offensive linemen, because we go against each other all the time. I remember when I first got here in 2018, I showed Taylor Lewan a write-up that I had on him from the Miami Dolphins, what his strengths were, what his weaknesses were. Here's what you need to work on. And those guys will come in and ask questions. And then, Ryan Tannehill, I've been with Ryan Tannehill longer than any player or coach in my career. I was with him when he was a wide receiver at Texas A&M. I was with him with the Miami Dolphins and then here in Tennessee. So that's an easy relationship to have. But I think it's got to come organically. Like, you don't just go out and try to develop a relationship with a guy. You just, if you care, you care. And I think that these players know and understand that part.
That was Terrell Williams, acting head coach on Saturday for the Tennessee Titans. And it was that last part that stood out to me, D-Mase. He talks about creating relationships with players. You can't force it.
No.
If you care, you care. If you care about the players, then you're going to put the effort forth to develop those relationships with them, and it'll come naturally. And there was another instance as well where he kind of harped on that same thing. Again, this was Terrell Williams.
All those guys, hey, okay, he's acting. All those guys, hey, okay, he's acting different now. He's the head coach, and you know what? It's been fun. I mean, we spend so much time around each other that we care about each other. So I think most of those guys were happy for me to have this opportunity. But what this opportunity also is it gives Clint an opportunity to coach the defensive line. I think the thing that's not talked about a lot since this was announced is Matt Gregg has also taken over for Todd with the training room. So I'll have a meeting with Matt tomorrow, and we'll kind of go over the injuries and do all of that. So this organization, Mike is the one that made a decision, but obviously he had to cover it with ownership. So I think this team deserves a lot of credit for what they're trying to do here.
And those two answers, and really that's not the only two.
Mm-hmm.
There were several instances in his appearance at the podium where every question he was asked about himself, he always talked about other people, whether it was his relationship with the players. Like he was asked, do you get butterflies before this game? He was like, first of all, no. Second of all, it's not about me, it's about the players. It's about who's going to be on the field in the game. He was asked about, in that clip right there, he talked about, how excited the defensive line was for him, and then quickly transitioned to, well, this is also an opportunity for Clint McClintock to coach the defensive line. It's an opportunity for other people to start moving up within the organization, thanks to the Titans organization for giving me this opportunity. In several instances, it was always about, okay, yes, I appreciate this, but it's about the other people around me. It's about building those relationships with the players. It's about how important my relationship is with them to make their jobs easier. I don't know how that's going to translate to being a head coach. Like, I don't know how that's going to translate to throwing the challenge flag at the right time, or going for it on 4th down, or deciding to kick from 56 yards. Like, I don't know how that's going to translate, but I do think, in my opinion, one of the important foundations or pillars of being a head coach is putting the team before yourself, is putting the relationships with your players at the forefront of your priorities. And it seems like those boxes have been checked from Terrell Williams.
Well, because they're checked across the board with, the coaching staff in general.
Yeah, it's a very variable thing.
Yeah, it's, who you're surrounding yourself with. That's ultimately sort of who you're going to be, or how you're going to act. If you surround yourself with a bunch of fools, you're going to act a fool.
Right.
Eventually. In this situation, if you surround yourself with people that care, genuinely care, then that's how you're going to sort of, walk your walk. You're going to care about the players. Yes, you want them to go out and do well on the field. Yes, you're going to coach them hard. But at the end of the day, you want to know them as people, not just athletes or football players. You want to know them as people. You want to know, what their life is outside of, that building. And that goes a long way. It truly does, because you always feel as if you have an advocate for you, no matter what. Now, you got to do the things necessary, meaning players, but you always know you have someone in your corner fighting for you. I've had plenty of coaches like that. Les Steckel was one of them. He wasn't necessarily my coach, but he fought for me during those early years. Whether it was a receiver coach or head coach, if you feel they're fighting for you, if you feel they have your best interest, then you're going to go that extra mile. There's been coaches on the coaching staff here when I was here in Nashville in Tennessee. They were like that. There were coaches on the coaching staff in Baltimore that were like that truly cared about the individual and would sit down and talk with them. So that goes a long way. It really does, especially during the middle toward the latter part of the season, when things are getting just grueling and it just seems like Groundhog's Day every day. The weather changes, your body's aching. It's like, man, do I really want to run that extra, 2 steps to get to the ball carrier in practice? Well, if you got a coach, that is in your corner, and you got a coach that's fighting for you, you're going to push through those aches and those pains. And you're going to give them everything that you have each and every practice. That's why, defensive line coaches, just watch them. I loved Washburn when he was here, because Wash could get those guys. They would do anything for Wash. That's because he cared about them. He truly cared about those men. And you would see those defensive guys on that defensive line, their motors will always be going. Why? Because he pushed them hard, but he also loved doing them as men, and he cared about them. That goes a long way. Again, it doesn't mean you're going to be like a successful coach, but it's part of being a successful coach. It's one of the attributes I believe you got to have. That's just in business, period.
Right.
You got to be able to be relatable to everybody. If you got 100 people that's working for you and you want to have a good business, you better know all 100 of them or something about all 100 of them. Because eventually, if you do, that works better for you and your company.
And I think that's one part of being a coach that you can't coach. Like that's one part of being a coach or a person that you either have it or you don't.
And players see through it. If you're trying to fake it, players see through that. But if you're genuine in it, and like Coach said, it has to be organic. People always ask, like, what is there? What do you want, or what is it that you're looking for? To me, I'm looking for that organic part, things that just happen naturally. I don't have to force it, because when you have to force things, it's not going to work. In the end, ultimately, it's not going to work. If it's organic and it happens, especially in a situation like this, then those guys, more than likely, more times than not, they will do exactly what you ask them to do, and even more. Why? Because they know you believe in them, and more importantly, you care about them.
And I think it's easy for everything to be all good and peachy and for everyone to get along when everything is going smoothly.
Of course.
When you're winning games. Culture is easy when you're winning games. But if you have a coach like that you would run through a brick wall for, no matter if your record is 7-0 or 0-7, that's special. Because that's when culture is hard to build and hard to maintain, is when things are tough, when you're losing games, when you're frustrated. But as long as you have that one person in the room that's able to, rally around, that everyone's able to rally around, that they're kind of the center of that culture, that I think that's important. And I think that is part of a coach's job.
Yeah, it is. Culture is hard to build, but it's not easily torn down either. It takes
good
a lot.
Culture.
Yeah, good culture. It takes a lot to tear down. One person can try, but if there's more, people thinking one way than the other, then the culture that we've established, the good culture that we've established, is going to supersede maybe those one or two voices that are trying to go against the culture.
Doug Texan, our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, says the best description of Terrell's news conference is that he was composed and thoughtful. I would agree. I also think he was very genuine. Yeah,
he was genuine. He didn't try to be nothing more, or nothing less. He was just himself.
Yeah.
And, things like this reveals to you work ethic, situations like that. He was prepared for this already. He was even though he was prepared for this moment before Vrabel even told him about the moment he was going to get. He was prepared for it. This was already written and ordained for him. He was ready for this moment. So it's not surprised that he gets up on a podium and he sounds just like a head coach. He's an extension of what Vrabel and what this organization is all about. He didn't deviate from anything. He's going to coach his own way, but the principles, the practices are built throughout that building.
Yeah, and it's when you mention like players can see through if you're trying to be, fake at all. We can see through that too. Like if a coach is at the podium, we can see through things. We can see through maybe the turning it on or off for the camera. I didn't get that vibe. And again, I don't know him very well, but from what I've heard and seen, I really like.
I guarantee you, he's no different than on that podium than he is
with the team
inside. Now he may yell a little bit more just to get
Maybe
them
more
going.
F-bombs
Absolutely. But what you saw, I believe, is what those players see when nobody's around.
Anything else that stood out to you there?
They tried to trip him up a few times. He wasn't going for it. The
PK question.
Yeah, PK. Hey,
Yeah.
so when, the whole Ryan Tannehill was like, ask me tomorrow. Ask me after the game, and I'll let you know.
It's
So call you tomorrow after the game? After 5 p.m.
Yeah,
Right,
after 5, yeah.
It was a good try by Paul. That's all you can do. Is simply
Paul,
just
you
try.
tried. Just couldn't
Tried
get
your
him.
best. Tried your best.
He's not no rookie.
He's been through the Mike Vrabel media training. Yeah, he knows. He knows better than that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our takeaways from practice today, we'll get into those coming up next. What did the quarterbacks look like? And more importantly, what did the offense as a whole look like? Because I'm concerned about it. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Tune into the Chase McCabe Show and our show as we broadcast live from Titans training camp. We'll get player interviews and deliver the latest updates with Titans practice as the team preps for the 2023 season. Coverage of Titans training camp is presented by Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, Caudle Vet Clinic, and the new Cumberland Development.
Ryan Tannehill.
To the end zone, touchdown.
Derrick Henry.
76-yard touchdown.
Kevin Byard.
And as he throws, and it's intercepted.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, wow, what a catch.
The Titans are ready for another season as training camp is underway.
Go to your position. Let's go.
Who will win the camp battles? How are the new additions fitting in? Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is finally right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code Caroline, my name, Caroline, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. Will the Tennessee Titans win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Do not sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. So visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Don't be surprised this week to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds. They'll be taking advantage of Genesis' most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20% below Genesis' everyday price.
That's right. The vault is open, and we're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock bottom prices. Now for a very limited time.
The GIA is the world standard in diamond grading, certifying accuracy and documenting quality, so you can buy with confidence.
Every Genesis engagement ring is included in this event, from a half carat up to 20 carat stones.
All shapes, rounds, ovals, radiants, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts. There has never been a better time to get an extreme value price on a GIA certified diamond, perfectly set in a gorgeous engagement ring. Hurry in for best selection. It's Genesis Diamonds GIA Diamond Extravaganza.
Save an extra 20% on these rare, precious diamond rings, now for a limited time. One per customer, please.
Exclusively at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
What's your gut tell you about playing Ryan Tannehill?
My gut tells me that we're going to have a staff meeting after this, and we'll talk about what we're going to do going forward.
What time should I give you a call tomorrow?
After the game on Saturday.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, that was Terrell Williams. A fair try by
Can't trip
Paul
him up.
Kowarski there. Cannot trip him up. Maybe that's beginner's luck for Terrell Williams. We'll try again next time. So, no word on who the starting quarterback will be on Saturday in Chicago, but Mike Vrabel spoke to the media in a scrum before practice and said that they have made up their minds. As far as the quarterbacks are concerned, D-Mase, not the best day for the quarterbacks. 11 on 11, red zone work, Tannehill pick. Hand off to Haskins, hand off to Henry. Now, Ryan Tannehill targeted Nick Westbrook-Akine in the end zone, and it was a good ball, but that was on Nick Westbrook-Akine. He just bobbled it and didn't catch it. So I can't put that on Tannehill, but still, incompletion. And then targeted Burks. Fulton broke up that pass, incomplete. Another incomplete target to Traylon Burks. Christian Fulton broke that up. Malik Willis came in, handoff to Tajay Spears. Next play, and again, we left practice early, so we didn't see all of this. Can't break down every single, specific of it. Almost got sacked there. I don't know exactly what happened, but holding on to the ball too long has been kind of a bugaboo for Malik Willis, and that's been a concern of mine is, if you look
dating all the way back to last season.
All the way back to last season is whenever they're not, the pass rush isn't there, what is he going to look like when there is a pass rush, not wearing your uniform, and they want to take your head off, and you're holding on to the football a little bit too long. And then another incompletion, good throw to Josh Wiley. And then Levis came in, not a great series for Will Levis. We've seen over the last couple of weeks, Will Levis has looked really good in the red zone. Not particularly the case here in 11-11 in the red zone. Handoff to Son Haskins, and then pick six. So not the best, most shining day for the quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, it's a part of the process, but it's going to have to. There needs to be some change. There needs to be some days where we're looking at it or we're watching practice, and there's more, offensive things that are going on well than the defense stopping them. And again, I'm not to the concern of, oh my goodness, what are they going to do? So if we're on this spectrum of 1 through 10, I'm about 4 or 5. Again, now, if it doesn't change in these preseason games, because the first preseason game on both sides of the ball are vanilla. You're not going to see, I don't expect to see much blitzing by Chicago. I expect to see a lot of off coverage, at least in the first game by Chicago. So things should be a little bit more defined and a little bit more clear for these quarterbacks. Now, when you get in game 2 and 3, there's something different. But I think they will get more vanilla looks than not. So it should be a little bit easier for them, in a sense, to move the football. If they can't do it this first game, then we may need to sort of, stop, pause, and like, okay, what's really going on here?
Yeah, and that's the concerning part is we can say now that it's early. We can say now that they still need time to mesh. And I think that all of those things are true. There's also no guarantee that at the point that it needs to be better, that it's going to get better. But there's also no guarantee that it's not.
Exactly.
And it's just, that's, what you kind of have to pick up on a few days into camp. Piecing together good days, good. Piecing together bad days, that's where the concern starts to set in. And you can look at it two ways. Glass half full, glass half empty. That you looked at Will Levis' 7-on-7 period where he threw a pick six, glass half empty. You can't be doing that. And then you could also look at it glass half full and say that Will Levis bounced back and had 4 completions in 11-on-11 period. That's what I do like from a young quarterback is being a goldfish. You throw a pick six, that stinks. Learn from it. Go back. Watch the film. And then being able to come back in the next series and not let that be on your mind, not let that weigh you down and just ruin the rest of your day. And you can come back and have a good series in 11-on-11. I think that is a good building and learning tool.
Yeah, I mean, quarterbacks, I want to see, are you correcting the things that need to be corrected? Are you making the same mistakes over and over? If you are, then we have a problem. I'm not going to get mad at you, or I'm not going to be too concerned if, we call a pass play whatever the pass play was, and, you got to dig on that front side, and, you throw the interception because you didn't read the defense right. Okay, it's practice.
Yeah.
All right. Next day or 2 periods later, if I run that same play and they play that same defense and you throw that same ball, now we got a problem because you saw it's the same defense. Everything is the same. You saw it, but you still you threw it. Still came up with the same results. Now, if you do something different, you go to that second read or that backside read and it's a completion, that tells me he's learning.
Yeah.
He saw the same thing that he saw the last time, and instead of throwing an interception or forcing the ball into the receiver, he looked to his second and his third choice. If quarterbacks are doing that, then we have a good thing. I just don't want you – I'm not saying don't make a mistake, especially now. You can.
Make mistakes.
Make mistakes, get them out the way, but I don't want you consistently making the same mistake.
Make mistakes now while they don't matter.
Exactly.
While it's not going to hurt the football team. But make the mistake, learn from it, don't let it weigh you down, and then don't do it again.
Exactly.
As far as the kickers are concerned, because I know the sexy thing to talk about is the quarterback battle. The non-sexy thing that is still very important, the kicking battle. Both Caleb Shudak and Trey Wolf were good from 26, 38, 33, and 44 today. So good. All right.
That's good. It's encouraging.
It's encouraging. And I talked about this. I was on with Joe this morning. It's good that they're making those kicks that they need to be making. Like, you need to make it from 44. I'm excited to see it in a game setting of, you're out in the elements. It might be windy. It might be rainy. It's a game could be on the line. You're in an actual game setting. Because I think that kicking, and really just sports in general, but night. Kicking, it's going to, middle of the day.
Middle of the day. When does
noon
it?
Kick.
Oh, it's a noon kick. Usually,
noon kick.
Usually they're playing at night during the preseason.
You'd think, but Titans and noon go together.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Get your breakfast in early, D-Mase.
Yeah, exactly. Put a little something extra in your coffee on Saturday morning. But I think that sports in general and kicking also, there's such a mental and psychological side to it that you can't always recreate in a practice setting.
Yeah.
So how does each kicker kind of deal with that in the preseason games? Not just Saturday, but throughout the rest of the preseason. I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
So we might see some separation there.
I am as well. Again, I want to see, these quarterbacks, I want to see what they have learned these last 3 weeks. I want to see how the receivers look in this game. We know everybody in the state of Tennessee wants to see the offensive line and see how they react to actual pass rushers coming at them for a go. But I want to see the quarterbacks, how they react. I want to see the receivers. I want to see that defensive back group and that linebacker group. Now that you're playing against someone else, now that they're, the lights are on and they're bright, how then do you react? Can you take what you've learned on the practice field, in the classroom? Now can you implement it in your game? Will you allow the light and Soldier Field? Is it still called Soldier Field?
It's still called Soldier Field.
Yeah, Soldier Field. Are you gonna allow the nostalgia of that building be bigger than you?
It's on the water. It's gonna be windy.
It's just, but it's Chicago. It's the Bears, and you walk into that stadium. It's a lot of history. Are you gonna let all of that overcome you and you sort of shrink in this moment, or are you going to go out there and do the things necessary and learn from the mistakes that you had on the practice field and take those things that were taught to you by these coaches and implement it in your game and just play? These guys got to realize that, to me, this is how I always looked at it. What's the difference between me, my senior year in college, and my rookie season in the NFL? why can't I have that same confidence that I had my senior year? Why can't I have the same confidence here? It's football. Yeah, the guys are a little bit bigger and faster, but it's just football. So go out there and just know that you have the ability to play this game at this level. If you didn't, they wouldn't have drafted you. They wouldn't have brought you in as a free agent if they didn't believe you had the ability to play on this level.
But how much of that is easier said than done?
You know what? Not really, in a sense. If you're prepared, if you're doing the things necessary and you're preparing yourself, not to say that it's easy, but it's not as stressful as what you can make it when you haven't been in your playbook, when you don't know what's going on, when you're not doing the things the coaches are asking you to do. That's when it becomes hard.
That's Johnny Manziel's zero logged hours on the iPad.
That's when it becomes difficult. But if I know my playbook, I'm good, you know? Now, I may drop a ball here and there, but as far as knowing what to do, I know what to do. Now I just got to go out and do it.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. Coming up next, now that we're in training camp, I never really thought that there was going to be another big, splashy trade or signing for the Tennessee Titans. ESPN thinks differently. So we'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's going down. They fight.
Jared, you're
How do you know, Joe? How do you know?
And fight.
And because of that,
how do you know that, though? How do you know that?
But that's okay. It's Jared and Joe. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m., Jared Stillman and Joe Rexroad debate the big topics in sports. Jared versus Joe. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors and Parman Tractor and Equipment on Stillman and Company. Wednesdays at 5 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Hey, Tennessee, we're Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town. We listen to your feedback on our competitors, so we designed Zen Sports just the way you wished. Set favorites, search and sort bets, and earn real cash rewards, saving you time and money with every bet you make. Find the bets you want, not those distracting bets that seem too good to be true but rarely are. Best of all, withdraw your winnings in under 24 hours. So take control of your bets, because with Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep, switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Junie Riddle,
The guy that can come in and give us some good goal-scoring production.
and Nick Keiser.
Another guy that I thought was interesting that got a one-year deal.
Each Saturday morning at 9, it's Riddle and the Reporter on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Get out of the summer heat and join us for craft brews, food, games, and entertainment at the 2023 Nashville Predators Craft Beer Festival. The fun begins tomorrow night from 6:30 to 10 p.m. at Bridgestone Arena. Proceeds benefit the Preds Foundation, which supports Middle Tennessee nonprofit groups and programs in the community. So, D-Mase, if you feel differently, let me know. Going into training camp, I thought, the extent of the moves that the Tennessee Titans have yet to make will be like free agent signings for backup offensive linemen, maybe for a special teams guy here and there. I didn't expect anything flashy, at least after the D-Hop signing. Did you?
Nothing flashy.
Yeah.
But I do expect them to sign maybe one or two guys that are not in camp with them right now. I do expect them to sign someone as we go.
Offensive lineman.
Yeah, it could be an offensive lineman or just depth at possibly the linebacker position or the cornerback position.
Yeah.
Those are really like the three positions that I believe need the depth. But beside that, I can't see them like a blockbuster name.
Yeah, I would agree.
Can't see it, but you never know. It can happen.
Crazy things happen. But I would agree. I would think it's more likely than not that if and when the Titans make any moves, it's depth pieces, maybe at positions that need a little bit more depth. But on ESPN.com, Seth Walder of ESPN Stats and Analytics put out an article that said NFL preseason trade matches. Which teams could make a deal? And I thought, okay, oh boy, this is going to be good. And going through it, the Bucks trading for Trey Lance. That would be a massive blockbuster move that I don't think is going to happen, but sure, let's entertain it. The Ravens trading for Chase Young.
I can see that happening.
But is Chase Young are the Commanders going to trade Chase Young?
Yeah.
Their former first-round draft pick in, 2020?
Yeah, they got to work out a new deal, I think. That's why that's why I don't.
And they just paid Deron Payne and Montez Sweat. So maybe they would. Maybe they would. There was one that surprised me more than all of them, and it was that the Titans would trade for Hunter Renfrow, wide receiver. So the Titans would receive Hunter Renfrow in a 6th-round pick and give up a 4th-round pick. Seth Walder writes, the Titans look like a potential rebuild candidate going into the offseason, but quarterback Ryan Tannehill and running back Derrick Henry remained on the roster, and the team recently signed wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, clearly signaling its intention to win in 2023. Well, let me just say, thank you for acknowledging that, because we don't get that very often. Goes on to say Hopkins was a start to fixing a deficient receiving group that featured Treylon Burks, a 2022 first-round pick who was just okay in his rookie season with 444 receiving yards in 11 games and not a whole lot else. Renfrow would likely be a significant upgrade in the slot over Nick Westbrook-Akine, who finished with the second-worst overall score in ESPN's receiver tracking metrics last season. I don't know what those are, but sure. Or Kyle Phillips, a 2022 5th-rounder who had 8 receptions in an injury-shortened rookie campaign. Hunter Renfrow to the Titans. Do you like it? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's probable?
I mean, I'm not going to say it's not possible. I think it's, $6.5 million?
$6.5 million.
They would have to pay. So that's real. It's not a lot considering the wide receiver position. But again, this is someone, that is writing the article, I believe, Seth Walder, that is sort of a national guy. And he's not looking at, because he didn't mention Chris Moore in this article at all.
I noticed that.
And Nick Westbrook-Akine is not set to be the slot receiver on this team.
It could be D-Hop.
It could be D-Hop.
Yeah.
It could be Kyle Phillips. It could be Chris Moore. So that's telling me he's not really in tune to this roster. And I don't expect him to. I don't, because he's giving other teams. He's worrying about he has to look at the whole landscape instead of just concentrating on one team. Because to me, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they go get Renfroe. But what does that do for this team to me? Because I believe that with the addition of D-Hop, Traylon Burks is looking a lot better. Chris Moore is looking really good. Kyle Phillips is back healthy again. We saw what he could do when he was healthy. We got our 4 receivers, and you throw Nick Westbrook-Akine in there, we got 5. I don't need to bring in someone else. These guys that I have we were just missing a veteran guy, that one veteran guy that could make plays, and they got him. They don't need nothing else. Now, could they go out and get somebody else like a Renfroe? Yeah, they can, but it's not like they need him. Like, I'm not giving up a 4th-round pick, to go get a guy where I already got him on my roster. I got those type of guys on my roster. Are you making my offense explosive? No. You're not making it no more explosive than what it is now. So why am I then giving up a 4th-round pick? That's a valuable pick.
It is.
So, again, they can do it, and I wouldn't be upset with them if they did it. But I'm looking at the receiving core now and what they have shown me. You don't need him unless one of these guys go down. Now, if one of these guys go down, or you want to bolster the back end, of your roster, but Renfroe is not a back end roster guy. You don't throw him in there to be your 5th receiver, your 6th receiver. He's in the rotation, 1, 2, 3. Well, you already got 1, 2, 3. Traylon Burks, Chris Moore, and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, and the other guys seem like they're coming on as well. So, again, is it a need? No. Would it be one of those deals where if we got them, then great? Yeah, it's one of those deals, but I'm not reaching. I'm not calling the Vegas Raiders and saying, hey, can we get Renfroe? I'm not making a call.
I think this is silly. I think that this is, honestly, I think this is dumb. You're looking at a team on the surface. You're looking at the Tennessee Titans, whose receiving core was one of the worst in the league this past season. You're looking at the Las Vegas Raiders, who just drafted a receiver in the 3rd round and signed Jacoby Myers in free agency. That's really where the coincidences stop, of a team that was needy of a receiver this past season and another team that looks a little crowded in the receiver room. Other than that, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think it's smart, first of all. I mean, that's a 4th-round pick. And this is just the proposed trade. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's – this wasn't even something that was on my mind until I read this on ESPN.com. A 4th-round pick, that's Chigakonkwo. And also, the Titans only have 5 picks in next year's draft. 2 of them are in the 7th round. I don't think the Titans are in any place to start just trading away picks for a receiver that you're going to have to re-sign next season.
Especially this early. Now, if we're closer to draft day and we were trying to, make some things happen, then okay, I can see something like that potentially happening where you're giving up your 4th to get, to get a higher draft pick, package it in with players. But there's no benefit. What's the benefit of me doing it now when my receiving core right now, they've looked good. Now, unless we have an injury, if we have an injury, okay, we got to reevaluate it. But as we speak now, I think they have 4 guys that are capable of going out there and making this passing game much better than what it was last year. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go from basically they were the bottom 3rd or the bottom half of the NFL in passing. They're not going to go from, let's say, I don't know, what were they? I think they were like 20
low.
20 low, yes. Let's just say that. They're like 20 low. They're not going to go from 20 low to 5th,
Because of Hunter Renfroe.
Exactly, because they're going to go from 20 low to, if they can, like you said the other day, if the defense is the top 10 defense and the offense is 17, 16, 15.
Middle of the pack.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Exactly. And Renfroe, I think they can do that with the guys that they have now.
And Hunter Renfro's a good player. I think he's an underrated receiver in this league. I think he's one of the best route running receivers in this league. He's a sneaky, slippery little guy. But with the lack of picks that you have in next year's draft, I'm not spending one of them on a Hunter Renfro.
No.
And the second thing is, like, when I'm out there at practice, when we're watching this team, the receiving core is not one that I'm looking at that I'm saying, that's going to hurt this team this year. It's the offensive line. So if you're going to invest anything, any sort of picks into this 2023 team, it's not going to be on a receiver. And it's not going to be on Hunter Renfro.
Especially a guy who only played 10 games last year.
Exactly. He did have some injury issues this past year.
Injuries, and last year was bad for him as far as number-wise. It was really, really bad considering what he had the previous year. We'll see.
No, it's a no from me.
Well, it's a no for me, but crazier things have happened.
Nick, is it a no for you?
It's a no for me, dog.
It's a no across the board. Sorry, Hunter. Enjoy Vegas.
Yes.
You ain't coming here. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. It has been a wild and crazy few weeks of college football conference realignment, and the question has been, where does the SEC go from here? Greg Sankey answered that question. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
So, if there's brunch, why isn't there dinner?
Or dunch, for that matter.
No, we know why there's no dunch.
Why is that?
People might get confused and miss brunch.
And I never want to miss a brunch this good.
Me either. Cheers.
Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Breakfast buffet Monday through Thursday from 7 till 10:30 a.m. and lunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Weekend brunch Friday through Sunday from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. featuring cast iron pancakes, made to order waffles, and eggs and carafes of mimosas. Treat yourself today to Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. News out of the NFL, free agent running back Kareem Hunt could not reach an agreement with the Indianapolis Colts yesterday. According to ESPN and NFL Network, the Colts offered Hunt a contract, and the two sides could not agree. Yesterday on the Chase McCabe Show, it was announced MTSU has renewed its affiliation with Cromwell Media for men's football and basketball, beginning this fall and continuing through the 2026 seasons.
Cromwell Media and MTSU have had a long relationship, and I'm excited to announce we're going to continue that relationship. As you all will have everything from men's basketball and football on 93.3 Classic Hits starting this season.
Yeah, we're excited about that because I think it's important for our fans to know where our games are.
Tune in later tonight on 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds take the field for Game 2 of the series versus the Indianapolis Indians, the AAA affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 1025 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game, and The Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by Zen Sports to start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. It's been a weird couple of weeks in college football. And by weird, I mean it has been anxiety-ridden, and I feel like every single commissioner of every single conference and every president and chancellor of universities have been running around like chickens with their head cut off, trying to just make sense of what's going on, trying to find that next landing spot. And I say every single commissioner, every single president. I don't really mean that. I really mean commissioner of the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or the ACC or presidents of Stanford and Cal and Oregon State. In the time being, Greg Sankey, and I think probably every president and chancellor of every SEC school, while everybody else is freaking out, they've all been sitting back, cool, calm, collected, because they're fine.
Exactly.
They know what they need to, what their future holds. And Greg Sankey went on the Paul Feinbaum show earlier this week and said, we're good with 16. We're not expanding beyond that. If the Big 10 wants to add Oregon and Washington, let them. If the Big 12 wants to add Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah, great. Wonderful. We're going to stay with 16. And I think that that's the right decision. And I think as a fan of an SEC school, I'm very grateful to be in a conference that amidst all of this chaos, they're sitting back and not making any rash reactions or, quick decisions in the midst of chaos. So Greg Sankey said, hey, we're not moving beyond where we are right now. But that doesn't mean that this doesn't directly affect the SEC, nor does it directly affect the Big Ten, the two conferences that seem to be the most stable and that seem to have the brightest futures. One change within all of this, because we've talked about the unintended consequences of, what does this mean for the four remaining Pac-12 schools, the Pac-4 now, RIP Pac-12. What does this mean for non-revenue sports? What does this mean for women's sports? What does this mean for the future of college football? All of those things are very fair questions that we don't really necessarily know the answers to. One thing that you and I have discussed before off air is, what does this mean for the college football playoff? Because once USC and UCLA join the Big Ten, and Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC, and also Oregon and Washington in the Big Ten, that's also the same year that the college football playoff undergoes major renovations. The college football playoff expands to 12 schools. Where it stands right now, there's 6 automatic bids. 1 for every Power 5 conference champion. Again, RIP to the Power 5. And then 1 automatic bid to an AAC, a Mountain West, a Big East, whatever it might be, a non-Power 5 conference champion. Well, now that doesn't really make sense. So Greg Sankey was on the Paul Feinbaum show earlier this week. Since Greg Sankey is a big part of the college football playoff committee, shocking that the commissioner of the SEC also wants to make decisions for the college football playoff. Shocking. But he was on Paul Feinbaum's show earlier this week and talked about what the future of the college football playoff looks like now that the future of college football no longer resembles what it looked like when the college football playoff expanded. This was Greg Sankey.
And here in the SEC, we wanted college football to be strong nationally, and we've not seen a west of the Rockies participant in the playoff since, I believe, 2016. And so the expansion was about making sure we brought in Western football. Well, now what's happened is Western football has come into other conferences. The net of that is circumstances have changed, and I think it's wise for us to take a step back and reconsider what the format might look like given these changed circumstances. We've not met on that. I've not had any meaningful conversations. But I think we have to acknowledge that it is on everyone's mind pending the outcome of some of these additional membership movement pieces.
Is there anything about the expansion that changes in your estimation now with what has happened in recent days?
Well, it remains to be seen, but how many FBS conferences will exist in 30 or 60 days, particularly as we head into next season, if you want to lengthen that time frame. We've been engaged in the right kind of conversations around future media opportunities, around the logistical issues and decisions related to the first round of games on campus, and how do we move then into bowl games. But we do have changed circumstances. Right now, we still have 10 FBS conferences, but there's obviously a great question about whether that will remain. And yeah, that could create a thought in my mind, and I think in others, about some level of adjustment being made. I do think the access we've created through the 12-team format still seems wise, but maybe there are elements and specifics of what was decided when we had clarity around 10 conferences that might need to be adjusted given what's happening right now.
One thing that Greg Sankey said there, let's be honest, expanding the college football playoff was not just to get the Pac-12 in there. I mean, they've had 2 appearances in last 9 years, Oregon in the first college football playoff, and then Washington. A couple of years after. It was about money. It's just very convenient that it now opens up opportunities for more teams on the West Coast. What do you think should be the future of the college football playoff?
I think ultimately, whether it's 12 teams or more than that, I think eventually it's going to be more. I think eventually it's going to open up more. It's sort of like March Madness. The tournament was many years ago was smaller. Now it's gotten to a point where 60-something teams. And I'm sure when it started to change and they started to add more teams, people were complaining, "Oh, there's too many teams, this and that and this." But it's worked out perfectly because March Madness is one of the biggest months in sports. So I think eventually that's what college football want the playoffs to get to, where it becomes the biggest draw of that particular month. And one of the biggest draws in sports, period. Once you start to add more teams, you seed them accordingly, where there's going to be good matchups. So I think where they're headed, they want to get more like basketball, than anything else. Because if they didn't want it more like basketball, they wouldn't have changed it from 4. They want to give more opportunities for other schools, and especially now that they're sort of forming this. Basically, it's a Power 2, SEC in the Big Ten. They want to get as many of their teams in as possible, and they're not taking anything away from the Big 12 or the ACC, but these 2 are the power conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC. So we're going to expand it so we can get more of our teams in. Yeah, we're going to let your team's going to be able to get in too, but we're going to have more of our teams.
Everyone's going to feel like they're included.
Exactly. But it's really about these 2. So y'all better jump on board.
Right.
Y'all better jump inside of our conferences, because ultimately what is it going to be? It's going to be the bulk of the teams that are in college football playoffs are going to be from the SEC and the Big Ten.
Because those are just the better teams in college football.
Exactly. Now, listen, you're going to have the Big 12 representing.
Yeah.
You're going to have the ACC representing. You're going to even have the Pac-12 as it sits now. It's not much of it left, but they're going to be represented too. But as we look, there's going to be more, in particular, there's going to be more SEC teams in the college football playoffs than anybody else.
I think that's what Greg Sankey wants.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't you? That's why he was pushing for more at-large bids, because the more conference champions that get automatic bids leaves fewer spots for more SEC teams that are that could qualify for the college football playoff. I think it's interesting, and I also think it's interesting that you talk about the Big 2. because Trevor Maddich mentioned something like that earlier this week when he was on Stillman and Company, and I want to get into what he had to say about, the short-term future of college football is the college football playoff. What does that look like after conference realignment? But what about the long term of college football? We'll get into that coming up next, and of course your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports. I don't mind going to another team.
You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Join 102.5 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 16th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library. This year's blood drive will be in honor of Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow and retired Brentwood Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh. Support the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive held August 16th and 17th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road. Sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
Don't be surprised this week to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds. They'll be taking advantage of Genesis' most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20% below Genesis' everyday price.
That's right. The vault is open, and we're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock-bottom prices. Now for a very limited time.
The GIA is the world standard in diamond grading, certifying accuracy and documenting quality, so you can buy with confidence.
Every Genesis engagement ring is included in this event, from a half carat up to 20 carat stones.
All shapes, rounds, ovals, radiants, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts. There has never been a better time to get an extreme value price on a GIA certified diamond, perfectly set in a gorgeous engagement ring. Hurry in for best selection. It's Genesis Diamonds GIA Diamond Extravaganza.
Save an extra 20% on these rare, precious diamond rings, now for a limited time. One per customer, please.
Exclusively at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Hey, this week's Nashville's best deal is CBD American Shaman. Get half off a $30 gift card right now to their Goodlettsville or Hendersonville locations at thegamenashville.com/deals. So Greg Sankey was on the Paul Feinbaum show earlier this week, said, hey, the SEC is not expanding past 16 teams right now, even amidst all of the chaos and conference realignment. But he also mentioned that himself and the rest of the College Football Playoff Committee are going to have to go back to the drawing board with the expanded College Football Playoff. In the original format, 12 teams, 6 automatic bids. The 6 automatic bids just don't necessarily make sense anymore now that there aren't 5 power conferences. But that's kind of the short term of college football realignment. The latest in college football is what does the 2024 college football playoff look like?
Mm-hmm.
The long-term question might be a little bit more daunting, might be a little bit more scary, because none of us really know. Because if you would have asked me 5 years ago what I thought college football would look like now, I wouldn't have told you that USC and UCLA would be in the Big Ten.
Definitely not.
So crazy things can happen, especially when you're motivated by the dollar, which is what a lot of these moves were motivated by. So Trevor Matich was asked about what the future of college football could look like, the long-term future, what some of these moves that have been made over the last couple of weeks could indicate over the next 5, 10, 15 years. This was Trevor Matich on Stillman & Company earlier this week.
I think that where we will go, and I really kind of thought this right when Oklahoma and Texas announced that they were going to the SEC eventually. You look into the future, and then you see USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. You look down the road, not in the short term, but in the longer term, and what you can see is the NFL model, where you've got basically 2 super conferences. There's multiple rounds of playoffs. They end up playing a Super Bowl, and in that playoff structure could be done within the 12-team playoff, as long as you don't have the automatic bids for the top 6 ranked conference champions. That way, the entire 12-team playoff could end up being teams from the Big Ten and the SEC, or certainly 10 of the 12 could be. And you still keep it open for other schools, but the trajectory of college football would make it so that it would be very difficult for other schools to even get in to the top 10, if not the top 12, to get there. And the reason is this. I think in the short term, it won't really change the fact that the ACC and the Big 12 and those schools will be able to get into the playoff and make a lot of noise in the playoff. But over the course of the long term, the money will add up. $30 million a year difference per year. I mean, Florida State and Clemson, the cream of the ACC, by the time the grant of rights is up in 2036, that will be about $400 million over the course of the time between now and 2036, more that their SEC and Big Ten rivals will be getting, right? And it's not just a matter of nicer facilities and things like that. This is the key. This is the tipping point. When the courts allow direct payments of schools to players,
which
in
you think is
addition
coming
to NIL, which I think is coming. I think the courts are going to do it. They've already signaled that it looks like they will. When that happens, then $30 million a year more than you have to pay players means that in the short term, it probably won't matter too much. But 5-10 years down the road, the best players are all going into those 2 super conferences.
Whoa. That was the first time I had heard the idea, and Trevor uses the word when and not if, that schools will be able to directly pay players. That it's not going to be NIL, that it's not going to be, your local mom and pop grocery store down the street is paying, said offensive linemen $50,000 a year to go to Texas. That it's going to be the University of Texas is writing a 5-star quarterback a check to come to the University of Texas. It's not going to be collectives. It's not going to be NIL deals. It is going to be direct negotiations and deals between the universities themselves and the players. That he said that is coming. It's not if, it's when.
But doesn't that now make them employees? When we're negotiating contracts, and nobody wants that, because now you take it, this no longer becomes a what do you call it? I'm losing.
Passion for the game?
No. A sport. It's no longer an amateur sport.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's no longer an amateur sport anymore. When the universities are the ones that are paying these, now you become essentially an employee. You are a professor. That's what you are. You're a professor. You are someone that is working within the campus.
You're a subset of the university.
Absolutely. So they don't want that, because now now I can form unions. There's a lot that comes with
benefits?
The university. Exactly. The university having to pay or wanting to pay players. Again, they should have did this a different way. They knew it was coming. They should have did it a different way. Now all of a sudden we got to try to figure out all these different ways to make it right. Well, there's no making it right now. It is what it is, and if it comes true what Trevor is saying, you essentially become an employee. I don't have to go to your university and go to school now.
And what role does the NCAA play in that?
Exactly.
I mean, the NCAA would become obsolete.
The minute you write me a check, I become an employee. I'm an employee.
And I don't have to be a student.
Exactly. I don't have to be a student at all. I'm an employee. They don't want that because then it opens up everything else.
I would agree that I don't think they want that, but I think that that would be the Supreme Court's decision.
Yeah, but then now you're really now people are on edge right now about college. Oh, you're changing college, the purity and everything else is gone. The college football, college sports is still college sports to the core. It's still college sports. These young men and women are playing it because they love it. They enjoy it. You start adding in, schools paying and all this stuff. Now you've taken it out of it just being college sport. Right now, it's still college sports. We may not like what is happening. Some people may not like what is happening, but it's still, at its essence, it's still college sports. But once you start doing that, universities writing out checks to individuals, that's all they are, contracts. Now you've taken what used to be college sports and you've thrown it out the window. It's the NFL now.
It is. It would
That's
be.
That's all it is, the NFL.
Because you would have two power conferences, Big Ten and the SEC, essentially the AFC and the NFC. And your college football playoff would be, let's just say it'll be 12 teams by then. That's your playoff. The 12 best teams compete for the playoff for the college football championship, your Super Bowl, essentially. And that's why there's been such a push for these media rights deals, because these commissioners might see the writing on the wall. And like Trevor mentioned, the ACC deal pays $30 to $40 million less than the Big Ten and the SEC over time. That adds up. So if I'm a 4-star, 5-star quarterback, receiver, edge rusher, whatever it might be, I'm going to the school that's going to pay me the most money. The school that's going to pay me the most money is the school that has the most money readily available. So the Big Ten and the SEC are only going to get bigger.
But if you, say for instance, I'm Michigan State, and there's this 5-star, quarterback out of, I don't know, California. No, let's just say out of Idaho. Somewhere just obscure.
Just middle of nowhere.
Yeah, middle of, let's say Idaho. And Idaho could be a great place.
I'm sure
I've never been.
No
I'm sure
offense to the Idahoans out there.
Exactly, absolutely. So now I'm negotiating this contract with this 5-star guy. I negotiated, is it for a year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 4 years? Because if say if I work out a 3-year contract, you can't leave.
You can't transfer?
You can't transfer unless you give me my money back.
I guess not.
Yeah, because it's essentially
Would you request
like a
trade?
Essentially, it's the NFL.
You would request a trade.
Yeah, you have to request a trade. And how many people are going to? And then how many schools are going to give you that trade? How many schools is going to facilitate that? They already didn't want you to leave back in the day. They made it hard for you. They're making it hard for you now. No, you're not going anywhere. We'll just hold on to paying you X amount of dollars for the next 2 years. You're not going anywhere. Now you're stuck.
But if you sign a contract, you need a CBA.
Yeah,
you need a players union.
You need a players union. There's a lot of things that come into play.
You need a commissioner.
You need everything. It becomes the National Football League. That's all it is. And in the National Football League, you can't just move freely. You can't. They may cut you, but you can't move freely. And then, when I sign this contract, if indeed it goes down that route, do I have to go to school?
Probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
Unless those are conditions and clauses written in your contract. But again, if you have a contract, you have to have a collective bargaining agreement.
Exactly. So what if I collectively bargain? Well, no, I don't have to go to class if I don't want to. You can't make me go to class, I don't have to. If you want it to be like the NFL, then all we do is go to work and go home and deal with our families and whatever else. We don't go to school.
And I don't think they want it to be like the NFL. I just think the way that we're going,
They want the money of the NFL.
There's no way to avoid it. They want the money of the NFL, but they don't want the structure of the NFL. And the structure of the NFL is what makes the NFL the NFL. So it's a mess.
It's going to get. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. In this situation, and worse, I don't mean like just destroying college. I'm just saying hard decisions that are going to have to be made as you continue to move forward. Do we go with the employee-employer model of the NFL, giving contracts, collectively bargain? Do we have presidents now? Do we have unions and all this other stuff? These are all the things that you have to work out. Who is the president? Who's voting for the president? Because it's not just the president. It can't be just the president of the football team. It's the president of everything. Because once football goes in, everybody else goes in too. The football can't just have the CBA. It has to be women's soccer, women's, volleyball, everything, all sports. It's not just football. All sports have to fall under this umbrella.
And then at what point is college football no longer a developmental league for the NFL? It's a competition to the NFL. Because if you're getting paid by the university, if you're not going to class, you have no eligibility.
But then
you can stay in college as long as
that's
you
what
want.
I'm saying. It's like there are things that has to be collectively bargained and worked out before you go down this road.
Right.
Because if I become an employee now, I don't have to go to class. The 4-year eligibility is you throw that out the window.
So essentially, you just are the NFL, but younger.
Yeah, unless you collectively bargain that you can only stay for 4 years. That is the max is a 4-year contract. Now, if you collectively bargain that, then okay. But
unless
if you
you
don't,
collectively bargain that you have to go to X number of hours a semester.
These are things that
maintain a certain GPA. So essentially, the CBA would be like the new NCAA.
Exactly. That's all it would be. But how many guys and girls would I'm sure there would be more students, or let's not call them, there wouldn't be students. There are more people, men and women, that would say, you know what, why do I just want to go to your university to play a sport. I don't want to go to your university to go to class. I can take online courses over here.
I didn't come here to play school.
Exactly. I can take online courses somewhere else and get my degree. I don't want to take your classes. Maybe you don't have the classes that I want.
They would have to collectively bargain that.
Yeah, it would all have to be collectively bargained, which
I think we're
would
really
take years.
I think we're really far away from that. But also, I thought that we were really far away from Oregon and Washington joining the Big Ten, and then it happened within 24 hours. 615-737-1025. Let's get your thoughts on that coming up next. I see your texts and your calls. We're right to those. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and a score!
On your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
What's up, y'all? It is Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code Caroline, Caroline, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they'll match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Don't be surprised this week to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds. They'll be taking advantage of Genesis' most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20% below Genesis' everyday price.
That's right. The vault is open, and we're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock bottom prices. Now for a very limited time.
The GIA is the world standard in diamond grading, certifying accuracy and documenting quality so you can buy with confidence.
Every Genesis engagement ring is included in this event, from a half carat up to 20 carat stones.
All shapes, rounds, ovals, radiants, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts. There has never been a better time to get an extreme value price on a GIA certified diamond, perfectly set in a gorgeous engagement ring. Hurry in for best selection. It's Genesis Diamonds GIA Diamond Extravaganza.
Save an extra 20% on these rare, precious diamond rings, now for a limited time. One per customer, please.
Exclusively at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Krebs Kubota wants to help you get your job done right with the parts you need and a service department that can handle maintenance and repairs from the largest excavator to the smallest two-cycle engine. For your farm, home, or commercial needs, Krebs Kubota will keep your Kubota running like a Kubota. Krebs Kubota, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment dealer, with convenient locations in Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Also online at KrebsKubota.com.
This week's Nashville's best deal is CBD American Shaman. Step into one of the CBD American Shaman's retail stores and sample various CBD products, while a CBD consultant is there to answer any of your questions. They select top-grade hemp plants grown on agriculturally responsible farms right here in the USA and bring worldwide wellness through ultra-concentrated CBD oil. They even have CBD treatments for your pets. Get half off a $30 gift card right now to their Goodlettsville or Hendersonville location at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app. Breaking down the latest in college football conference realignment. The near future college football playoff, the 12-team playoff, what the automatic bids look like, and then the long-term future, where Trevor Maddich says, hey, I think it's ultimately going to be where the universities directly pay the athletes, and then we've got two mega conferences in the Big Ten and the SEC, and it's essentially going to be like the NFL. It's going to be the AFC and the NFC. Let's get your thoughts on it. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you have a thought. One texter texts in, says, fame and popularity will ruin these young athletes in college if they start getting paid like this. These are kids. There will be lots of suicidal stories just like Johnny Football. After these kids pee their lives away after getting paid, partying like celebrities and ruining their lives. I think the important thing is making sure that you have people in your corner. I mean, this isn't going to be the first time that young kids get paid. Exactly. I mean, there's young celebrities and actors, actresses, singers, pop stars that are, mega superstars that make millions upon millions of dollars. They just have the right people, the right education to be able to take care of their money and to take care of themselves.
Yeah, I think, listen, not every young person is going to go out and go crazy because you give them money. Not every young person is going to do that. Because if that was the case, then, it would have happened. Stories, and stories do come up. So I'm sure there is a group that would do that. And there's a group that will not do that.
You got your good eggs and your bad
eggs.
So
I'm
everywhere.
not going to withhold money because I'm scared that, someone may blow it all. It's their money.
Yeah.
I'm giving him their money. You choose to do with your money you choose to do what you want with your money. That's you. I'm giving it to you for a service. You can, you're a good athlete, whatever the case may be. I'm going to pay you as such. But like you said, then it's up to that individual, their parents, whoever else, to make sure there's guardrails around it. And try to, go from there. Again, this is not the first time people are getting paid, they've been getting paid for a very long time, just under the table.
Right.
Okay? So it's not going to be – the only difference is I know it's legal, and I know who's getting paid and who's not.
I know the transaction.
Exactly. I know them. So that's the only thing that's going to change. But we can't worry about, these – even though you don't want to see it. And you don't want to see the horror stories. But I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to pay you because you're 17, 18 years old. Hell, I see 30-year-olds, 40-years-olds get money and they still go crazy.
Right. Age does not disqualify you.
Absolutely. Age is not, it doesn't disqualify you from not being able, from not knowing how to take care of money.
And it shouldn't disqualify you from being able to get that money.
Absolutely.
You can't just say, well, I'm not going to pay you because you're 17.
Exactly.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
Tommy Texan says, I don't think it would work as far as contracts. Doesn't a full ride require you to keep certain grades? If it were to happen, couldn't these schools hold talent back as far as a 4-year contract when players are eligible to go to the league after 3? I think it's a bad idea for college sports, nonetheless football. Again, if you're talking about contracts, you have to have a CBA.
Yeah.
And if you have a CBA, you need to have a players union. And in the CBA, they would negotiate the length of contracts, how to get out of the contracts.
Well, essentially, I mean, they're only year-to-year contracts anyway. All scholarships are year to year. Just because when a guy signs a letter of intent or his letter to his scholarship to go to that university, it doesn't mean he or she is going to be there 4 years. You're not locked into 4 years. You're locked into that year you sign it. Because the next year you got to go and sign it again.
Right.
And if you're not doing the things that they're asking you to do, which now is go to class and perform on the athletic surface, whichever one you're playing on. If you're doing that in class and on it, then you're going to keep your scholarship. But if you're not doing it from a classroom standpoint, or sometimes if you're not good enough on the playing surface, they may take that scholarship back.
Right.
Because it's only year to year.
And that's not exclusive to student athletes.
Exactly.
Non-athlete students who receive scholarships have the same kind of guidelines. You drop below X GPA, you lose your scholarship.
Exactly.
If you, get into trouble with the university X number of times, you lose your scholarship. That's just, school to student, not necessarily exclusive to football players. Will in Clarksville, Texas says schools are already paying the players by using the boosters. But those are the collectives. The schools, and I'm sure there's plenty of shady stuff happening behind the scenes that isn't allowed, but the collectives are solely funded by boosters, by fans. The school cannot say, hey, we're going to take $1 million of our endowment and give that to you in the form of a check so that you come to this school. Collectives and boosters are completely separate than the schools actually paying, from the office of the dean, let me sign you a check to, said 4-star quarterback.
Yeah. So, I mean, will it ever happen? Do I believe it's going to happen? In regards to that, and in that form, highly unlikely. But then again, the landscape of college sports is changing. So you don't know what they're going to add, how they're going to add it. What are going to be the guidelines? So college sports is forever changing, and people just need to get used to it.
Yeah,
that's all, because it's going to change even as we continue to. This is not the last change. It's going to be some more changes, and people will adapt to it, and people will like it.
It's not now what it used to be.
Exactly, absolutely.
That doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
No.
Randy Texan says, I'm with Rick Pitino per his tweet earlier this week. It's all about football. Let's let football break off and create their own league and their own commissioner, maybe include basketball, but then leave all of other sports alone. Baseball, the Olympic sports, stay put. Keep their regional footprint. The football can multiply and divide whatever. It would make sense. I wish Mr. Sankey would have been asked that. That's not the first time I've heard that of why can't these conference realignment changes just apply to football and not just and not to every single sport, not to swimming, not to track, not to whatever. I don't know how that would work with the television contracts. I don't know how that would work. And I also think it's a little bit too late for that.
Yeah.
I think that, the toothpaste is out of the tube.
Yeah, you might as well forget it now.
Yeah, forget that. Yeah. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. A little change happening at ESPN, and I have some questions about it. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Are you always on the go? We've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad. It's Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Stomach Company.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's going on, everybody? This is Derek Mason here for Zen Sports, and I need to tell you about them. The new sports betting app in Tennessee, revolutionizing sports betting rewards. What if I told you that you were wasting your time, or you are wasting your time and money betting on sports books that are not Zen Sports? Zen Sports offer real cash rewards for those lucky enough to be in Tennessee, and that means no funny money or points or credits, people. For a welcome bonus, earn 5% cash back on every bet you place for your first 15 days with the code D-Mase. Yes, unlimited 5% back on your bets with the code D-Mase. That's D-M-A-S-O-N. And earn up to 3% cash back on your bets after that with the Zen Sports loyalty program. So make the switch today and start betting on Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you, and your purse or your purse will thank you later. Gambling problems, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet in Tennessee. Zen Sports, betting just got better.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code ESPN10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code ESPN10. Use code ESPN10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
David, what kind of regulation exists
with regards to ESPN being a news breaking outfit and also having its own gambling operation?
So you guys were doing your show, but on Nothing Personal this morning, which is a podcast that I do with Metalark. It is a big topic for me, the conflict of interest with what happened as an example with Shams in the draft. I mean, what Shams was able to do when he tweeted out that there was going to be a different draft order, and all of a sudden the line moved, and Shams has a deal where he also gets paid by FanDuel. Is there a conflict there? ESPN is going to be very careful because they do not want any sort of regulation. They don't want Washington interrupting any of what they're doing at all. But when you're watching a pregame show and the insiders are giving you information about a game, are you going to act on that information when it comes to placing a bet on ESPN Bet? ESPN is hoping you do, but they're not going to talk about it. They're going to talk about the ethical wall that they're going to build between inside information and the outgoing source of information about betting. They'll call it the ethical wall. Guess what? That's not how it works. People have information, and the smart bettors are going to know who to listen to when and try to take advantage of that.
That was David Sampson. He's a former ESPN employee, a former higher-up at ESPN under John Skipper, pre-Jimmy Pitaro days. Have you heard the latest with ESPN and their new business venture?
Yes, their betting site.
Yes. So if you haven't heard, Penn Entertainment, which is like a sports betting, gambling, sports book company brand, they formerly bought Barstool and created the Barstool Sportsbook app. And the Barstool Sportsbook app didn't really go off like they expected it to. So Penn Entertainment sold back Barstool to Dave Portnoy, the president owner now of Barstool. And now Penn Entertainment's next business venture, next sportsbook venture, is ESPN Bet. So they're partnering with ESPN to create a sportsbook, an ESPN-branded sportsbook in the United States. And look, ESPN has betting shows, like they have Daily Wager. When ESPN plays XFL games, the betting lines are on like the score bugs of XFL games. They talk about spreads, they talk about lines, talk about betting. They're betting commercials on ESPN. But now they're actually creating their own sports book. And in my opinion, those two things are very different. Talking about betting, maybe giving betting advice, best bets of the day, are completely different than actually cashing in on sports betting, especially when you hold so much of the information. When you have league insiders like Adam Schefter, like for the NFL, like Pete Thamel for college football, when you've got insiders across every major sport in America that are employed by your organization that now hold information before the general public has it. You're in charge of the information and dispersing that information, and you're also in charge of lines and spreads. That feels icky to me.
That doesn't seem right. That seems like a conflict of interest.
Total conflict of
That's
interest.
what it seems like. I mean, how does it work? In a sense of, okay, say their site is up, and say it's Wednesday, and say they have, I don't know, Ryan Clark or Swagoo or Booger McFarlane on talking about
Tigers.
Talking about two Tiger guys. I wouldn't name two Tiger guys. Start talking about the upcoming game, say the Thursday night game, and they're giving all this information. So how do I receive that? Because if they come out with some story, this guy's hurt or this guy's not playing, so I'm making my bets based upon what he's talking about. Right. So what if he says something deliberately that isn't true? That just throws it in there, like a side note, just throw it in there.
Isn't that illegal?
That's what I'm saying.
It should be if it's not.
So you're steering me you're steering me one way knowing that it's not right, so I can place that bet on whatever team it is. Say, I don't know, the Colts said they're starting Anthony Richardson instead of Gardner Minshew this week. There could be a possibility. What if that's not true? You said there could be a possibility, which doesn't – it takes it off of you and sort of puts it – because I said it could be. I didn't say it was. I just said it could be a quarterback switch. Well, you did that deliberately. Why did you do that? If you know good and well no one gave you that information, you just threw it out there. Now I'm betting as a sports bettor, okay, man, what if Gardner Minshew's not playing and Richardson, I'm going with the other team. And then Gardner Minshew shows up and he's playing. So there are things that I just think when it comes to something like this, it just doesn't feel right because it seems like you can manipulate the information.
You absolutely can, because they are both the people that hold the information and also control the betting lines.
That doesn't make sense.
What's stopping Adam Schefter? And I'm not saying that Adam Schefter would do this, but what's stopping him from getting a text from an agent saying, so-and-so's out today? Well, Adam Schefter can give that information to the sports book to adjust their lines before he announces it. Like, that is a pure manipulation of the sports book and of fair betting. Isn't that what sports books wanted to eliminate from the very beginning? Is ensuring that athletes don't bet because they have inside information. That was the number one priority of sports books and of leagues, is to maintain integrity.
I don't know how you maintain integrity in regards to this. Now, they're going to say they can.
They'll say that they will.
Exactly.
That they're not going to have crossover.
Yeah.
I think I know a little bit better than that, though, to just take them for their word.
No, I'm not taking them for their word. I'm not. It's hard to take them for their word when they control all the information that's coming out.
It is.
Because teams try to sort of keep a hold of their narrative, try to push out their narrative. But when you're watching ESPN or some of these other channels, that's what they're trying to do as well. Push out a narrative of what's going on in the world of sports or with this particular team. I just think you're too close to the fire.
Right.
You're too close to the fire. And why even do that?
I wouldn't be surprised if it is a massive and epic failure for that reason, that people just simply don't trust it.
Because now can they bet, like, the talent?
They shouldn't.
Anybody in the building, anybody that works for ESPN, can they bet?
They shouldn't be able to, because they've got access to information that the general public doesn't.
And they may not be able to bet now anyway. I don't know.
It's shady.
Yeah.
I don't like it. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, day before game day, finally. Stillman & Company's up next.
Be love and love on your people. Peace.
ElectronicExpress.com